As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Try the sauce. I'm soaked in it.
Oh, I could lick you all day long.
No, I don't hate Balboa, but I pity the fool, and I will destroy any man who tries to take what I got.
What?
How's it going, everyone? It is the 68th episode of the Comic Shop Talk. How are you all doing tonight? I'm feeling good. The Twitter bots are after me like crazy today because I talk shit on their artificial bullshit creation of Namor. It was great. It was fantastic. Maybe I overkilled it a little bit, just a little. But it was fun. It was very fun. And I don't regret it overall. And lucky it happened to be on a day I was open. So I get to fiddle around and, actually do that. So anyways, though, we're moving forward. We have a show tonight. It's going to be fantastic. Guys, we're talking some classic what if comic books tonight. What a fucking cool comic book series. Like, damn. I love this series. I'm probably got to go on my own little tangent and just read the entire thing, all 40 something issues. This is a great volume of comic books. It is insane how good it is. And the amount of depth, even though it's alternate stories and ultimately they don't matter, there's just something about the execution of the depth that just really, really strikes a nerve with me. And I'm all about it. I'm really, really, really all about it. So I'm happy to be talking these issues. D-Bud, we're talking what if number 3. If you want to come in, let me know. I'll shoot you the link. I know obviously this is kind of last minute, but I know you're an Iron Man guy, and if you feel like you got what it takes to come on impulsively, I'll let you know. Otherwise, happy to see you here in the chat as always, sir. Thank you for being here. Vince Womack, principal of the Rainbow Knight. Philip A. Demick. You never have to next week be about 18 comics, not just porn pervert, but things where, dude. We will definitely do. We're talking about doing some Conan stuff. We are, believe it or not. I think a few weeks ago, I don't know if you were there for that. If you were and you don't remember, or I don't remember, I apologize. But we talked about doing some Conan stuff for when the Titan comic comes out. We'll review it. If it looks good, we'll maybe make it like a monthly occurrence. At least me and Casser. We'll see. Marks 47. How are you, sir? Dr. Dragon. Diesel. Ooh, dude. It's a good fucking album. It's a good fucking album. I like it. I like it a lot. Dude, that album, I'm just saying. But seriously, guys, thank you for being here. Let's talk some comic books now. Yeah, yes. I know. I was starting to catch on later on with Phil's comment about, with the adult. I don't know if I got enough time to prepare. I wish I had thought like that, but maybe I could read a comic book that's on the 18 plus. Maybe I will try, because we do got to do something special with the 69th episode. We really, really, really do. So we'll figure it out. We can talk about it here on the show, but let's bring in our panelists. Clobbering Times.
Yo, what? Excuse me. I was not prepared. I usually go last.
Yeah, not today. I did a twist on you.
You sure did, man. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's good to see you. How you doing, buddy? You having a good day?
I'm actually having a good day. It's been a crazy afternoon, but I had a great fun with the afternoon, and
I know you did.
It feels good though. Yeah, right. You can wonder why, but I'm just glad to be here. I've been looking for this show all day, and I was happy to still, despite all that, get comics read. Which I already read most of this in advance, so it's a little bit easier. But this definitely added to my excitement. Just it kept the adrenaline in me. I'll tell you that. It kept the excitement in me. So I'm like, man, I've been going since 5:20 this morning, so I'm feeling fucking good. So
good. It's been a couple weeks. I think
by the time
I read these. Oh yeah.
By the time I pass out, I'm gonna crash really good tonight. So.
Oh yeah. Well, excellent. Hello, everybody. Chat, what is up, my friends? D-Bud. Wish you were here, bro. It's just I should have thought about it and give you some notice to get you prepared. but he said he's still having dinner and he hasn't read the other ones lately. But man, that's a shame. That's my fault. I should have bugged you about it.
Dude, I take blame too.
Because I'd love to know what he. I mean, I'd love to have him talk about that Iron Man issue. But anyway.
Maybe we'll have to do an Iron Man story with him. Maybe we'll have to talk about that for down the line.
Yeah,
I'd love to have him on just to talk Iron Man because this comic really got me excited to read some Iron Man. So, but we'll get into that as we go along. Philbo Baggins, what's up, my guy? Keely Chow, the Peter Venkman fan site. Hello. And the Mighty Chernobyl, good news. I got the package. Better news. I am going to do a video for this unboxing. I'm straight up doing a nice little 5-10 minute video, whatever it is, for this comic book unboxing. So thank you. I received the package. It came in today. I got it, and I'm excited. Probably I'm gonna get recorded Monday morning, afternoon, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. So it's finally gonna happen. I could have easily done a stream, but I want to give it its own video dedication. You waited so long and so patiently. You deserve a video out of this one. You straight up do. So this is the least I could do for you, Chernobyl. And glad you could be here. Hey, your Muslim uncle, what's up? How you doing? Our friend Muslim uncle. Thank you for being here. Oh, good. Yeah, don't worry. You will know about this.
I'm glad you're enjoying that Legion stuff. Long live the Legion, brother. And hey there, Diesel.
Diesel. Shout out to Diesel. All right, let's bring in our panelist, Fenrir.
All right, first of all, 3 things. First, Nick, I tried the damn sauce. I went to the freaking store. The frog didn't let me lick it. What the hell, dude? That's bad advertisement. I'm thinking about suing you right there because that is some shady advertisement. I wanted to lick the frog. Second, modern day Namor looks like a freaking pansy. Somewhere, Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm are laughing their asses off at that little guy with actual Namor. And then just thinking about how to beat him up just for the fun of it. Third of all, 69 is a very beautiful number and needs to be done for a special occasion. So as for that, I suggest we review something of unique nature. Not the sexual kind, but just entertainment kind wise, which again sounds sexual, but it is not. I suggest doing a review of the Spectacular Spider-Man. It is a good cartoon series and feels like a love letter to the guys who made it. So yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have everyone do a quick individual comic to review. Hell, Paul's like 32.
True.
Not ugly.
Hey,
true.
Well,
happy belated.
I'm still pissed about the sauce, dude. Bad advertisement.
Still glad to say that Tanak's look is fucking ugly as shit, but happy to see you, Paulie.
Honestly, that look would have been better for a Tuma. I'm gonna admit it. It would have probably been better for a Tuma.
I want to say, happy birthday to Paulie. It's a day late, but
it's his birthday.
Yeah, well, yesterday was his birthday.
I thought he was
gonna have a birthday stream
Paulie,
tomorrow.
I am so. Oh, it's tomorrow.
Oh, no. He's gonna have a stream tomorrow. Yesterday was the actual birthday, but anybody?
Oh, man.
Tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Sunday. Sorry.
Okay.
Paulie, sorry about that, dude. Happy birthday, hermano. I'm so sorry about that. Didn't know. I'm super sorry. I'm really bad at birthdays. I even forgot Nick's. I'm a douche. I'm sorry. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to all that I forgot about yours. I am so sorry. Seriously. I'm an ass.
All right.
Seriously, if we ever meet ever again, you're allowed to kick me once.
It's not that serious, dude.
That's very generous of you, Fenrir.
He's not offended.
Paulie could actually tear us apart. If we're gonna be fair here, Paulie actually really legitimately could do that.
Paulie could probably
I will be very fair and honest with that.
Except me. Paulie doesn't understand my skills. I've never told him my actual martial arts acumen is so incredible that it would make him look like an amateur, but I don't want him to feel bad, so I don't tell him that.
All right, then.
Maybe not quite. Maybe exaggerating a little bit.
We got 2 other gentlemen waiting in back, and they have been ever so patient about this one. How's it going? You say the rest.
Howdy how!
My God, he's actually here at the start.
Yep. Today I had some time before the show, and I will have less time through the show, so I may drop early, but At least I am at the beginning. So
This feels wrong.
yeah, I was hearing a lot of wrong things from you, man. Like you like BDSM, but from big Latinos. So
Whoa, 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 shut that. Whoa. What
Wait.
the hell?
I just heard that you wanted some kicks from Pauli, and well, if you have your
That
king,
was
you
a
have your king.
gift. That was a freaking. That was a gift.
You can
I'm
consider
sorry.
a gift
An
anything
apology,
you want.
man. What the hell, man? That's an apology gift, dude. An
I was
apology
waiting
gift.
on the back for that, man.
uh, everyone wants to be a comedian.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately, the people working on Marvel right now are not. So
True.
I drop She-Hulk. I could not handle it after the last episode. So this episode, I didn't even watch it.
Lucky you.
Good.
I don't care.
I haven't watched a
did.
single one.
I watched it. You're lucky you didn't watch it. Oh, good God. It is so freaking terrible.
When I saw the yellow helmet for Daredevil, I was like, "Oh, they are gonna
I'm
fuck
gonna be
this
a rare
up."
contrarian.
Oh, they already said
on the yellow
it's not the
helmet.
Netflix guy. They already said
I know
it's a new
that.
version, lighthearted and comedic and more open. So yeah, it's gonna suck hard.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a sort of contrarian. I have no issues with the suit. I straight up don't. And
Actually, don't either.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not trolling. I'm not being sarcastic. I have no issues with the suit whatsoever. Now, do I worry about the possible depiction, portrayal,
Yeah.
tonalities? Yes, that's where my potential complaints lie
My-
with them. But I have no
Look,
issues with the suit whatsoever.
my issue is not
I
with
don't
the
my-
suit,
stand by
is
that.
with who is making it. Is
That
the
is-
wrong person making it.
Yeah.
That's all I gonna say, and
Yeah.
that irked me the wrong way. So I was like, nah. You know, the Daredevil
Terrible.
series, season 1 and season 2, are some of my favorite things
Oh,
in the
we're
world.
fantastic.
I put it in the same top 10 that I have in general with Doctor House, with Malcolm in the Middle, with series that really, really mean something for me. So once I saw that they were making that change, just that change is enough to know that they don't care about the Netflix series. And if they don't care, why should I care about what they are making now?
Yeah, they just want the fame of the thing. They don't actually want the thing.
I do confess to a sick, terrible, unhealthy, morbid curiosity about seeing him on the show, though.
Yeah.
See how
same.
bad it is.
Clubby and I are in
Yeah.
that
Let's be
boat.
honest. We're all sick bastards on that point.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna regret it.
Yeah, but we don't
Yeah.
need to go down that well. Clubby and I
mean-
especially.
I mean,
him and
they're
will
going to
talk about
depict
on
the born again story. Can you even imagine them actually trying to make it family friendly? I mean, it's not going to hit the same.
No,
It's going to be trash.
They will not
And-
even make him a Catholic.
No, they won't. They
No.
will
No,
definitely. they
most
will
likely
steer
not.
Away from that, they definitely will steer away from that, and that is BS. No,
Definitely
Me and
not going to do
Claudia
the
will have-
crack selling for secret identity thing.
yeah, me and Claude
I
will
did
have
that.
a moment to talk about it on Midnight's Edge and such, and I'm gonna save my ventilation for then. But until then, we still got another guy who's been waiting here ever so patiently for 14 and a half minutes. And he is the
Whoa! Hey, guys,
Oh.
come on! You gotta give me a little warning. I can't have that out. Well, I mean, since I have it out, I guess I should let you know I was.
nice stack.
My nutsack. Smart.
Dude, having your nutsack on camera may be a bad thing for them.
But this is Friday.
How you
I'll have
doing,
it out.
Caster? How you doing?
Oh, it has been a week.
That's true. That actually is a true statement. It has been a week. It's been a month too, really. A day and
Oh,
an hour
made that
and all
the
that
truth.
stuff.
I was able to get some good books in this week.
Ooh. Nice. Go on. We're listening.
I kind of gave you guys a little hint of what I was reading this week, but I started finally delving into the saga of the Swamp Thing with Alan Moore.
Ooh.
Oh, all right, dude.
Oh.
There you go. Now you're talking.
I only managed to get about the first about 3 issues into it, but
There you go.
I am floored really just by the direction they took the character. It's like he's a character that's always been kind of on the edges of my knowledge of as far as comic characters are, and getting into that to not really give away too much of it, but playing with this idea that is he a man? Just this idea that is the Swamp Thing even a man? In the way they did it,
Moore did that, and it was just imagine how that blew me away when I first read that in 1980. It was a 2 or 3 or whatever, 3 somewhere up in there as an 18, 19-year-old kid. I was just blown away by it. The anatomy lesson. Actually, his first issue was called Loose Ends. That was number 20, but that kind of just fixed it, tied things up. But the anatomy lesson, which was where he really all started it all,
with the Floronic Man.
Floronic Man thing.
Yeah, I got those. I got that, and then the subsequent issue where he then goes back down to like the Florida Everglades, and he's kind of deciding, am I even gonna like bother trying to be a man? It's like, oh, this is some kind of deeper stuff. This is
great stuff.
Questioning everything the character was before. It amazed me really. Kind of going into it like, and mind you, Swamp Thing's a character I know like next to nothing about beyond just he's tied to the green.
Yeah. Well, that put him on the map there. That's what put more on the map in the States, although some of his British work got everyone's attention. That one, superstardom at the time.
Look forward to reading some more of it.
No, good, dude. You'll want to definitely report back on here as soon as you can so we can hear more of your verdicts. And before we get on talking about some comic books, I want to give another shout out to Southern Viking. How are you, do? Pope Metallicus the First, The Common Nerd. Hello. Wiki Fever presents. Hello. And Pope Metallicus had a comment here. This shirt was a 1 and 2 made between me and my girlfriend. She gave me, I think, for last year's birthday. So, but there will be stuff down the line. I am currently in the, I don't want to say the final stages, but I'm like 70% of the way through what I'm doing for what will be the membership package for the, I guess you could say, middle to upper tier level. I have ideas that are going to be set. And so for the middle to upper tier, I'm going to do some sending out packages to everyone who signs up for the middle or upper tier. And who signs up for the middle or upper will get a package from me of stuff. I'm not going to say what just yet, but I'm giving you the hint right now. There will be things I get to send to anyone who signs up for those. A little package of stuff, a little care package each individual. Even if you're not in America, I will eat the shipping. I don't give a fuck because I will send that shit to you. It's gonna get to your country and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fucking awesome. So, anyways, guys, next package, Vince, you might get one. You get it with the package deal. Each person, they might get a cool snack. I can't say what, but yeah.
Might I make a recommendation, Nick?
Make a recommendation.
You need to go look into like some of those obscure Kit Kats, because like that's like a big thing in Japan, and I'm finding them for Halloween like marshmallow, like Kit Kats were like they've basically gone and covered them in like marshmallow or pumpkin pie flavor. Like it is, it is good.
It's a thought. I have a few ideas I'm entertaining. Who knows? I might surprise people. I actually don't live far from a store that carries Japanese items, so we'll see. That's something definitely to entertain. So, Magic Poop. How you doing, Magic Poop?
That's a good name.
Seriously, seriously, that name takes a lot of creativity. Magic Poop.
I know. That's why I follow him. Like, I'm like, I gotta follow someone named Magic Poop. Like, how could I not follow someone like that on Twitter? He's Magic Poop. Dude, he's Magic Poop. I'm just saying, shout out to Magic Poop. Thank you for being here.
Every time I hear Magic Poop, I just think about Mr. Hanky.
Now, Magic Poop is another one of the great memers out there. Straight out, like he is giving me some laughs in my time, and I thank him for that. I thank you, Magic Poop. I thank you. All right.
Poop is
But
the
guys,
best gift.
a few weeks ago, we talked about some original What If comic books from the very first volume of the Marvel comic books run. And the very first issue was What If number 3. And that issue was titled What If the Avengers Had Never Been. And coming across this issue, oh shit, Dark Shadow Logan. Sorry, this is worth the interruption for Dark Shadow Logan. What's up, dude? And you know what? Before we get into it, it's Friday night. You got a good amount of people in the chat. It's time to do our ritual here. Guys, if you got them, drink them. If you're not a drinker, you're welcome here anyways. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Cheers, beers, greetings, salutations, wherever, whenever, however you are. Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers.
Salud.
All right. So, yes, what if the Avengers had never been? Issue number 3. As I get my screen here, I was so happy about this comic book, and I'm so glad that our very own Clobbering Times recommended this as part of the collection here, because I loved this book, not just because it was an Iron Man story, but how well it was executed, and to make it so Iron Man centric. And the fact that, like, you had, and especially, it's also great to see an emphasis on Janet Van Dyne and what happens when you let your emotions consume you and the mistakes you make because you let your emotions consume you. And I thought that was such a cool way to go about it. And obviously, and it wasn't because just of Tony, but because of course, how she felt towards Captain America. But it was
cool.
I
think Nick, I think you're mixing up the what ifs, because I think that's from the Daredevil what if, the second half.
No. Hold up. No, because Janet Van Dyne has. Oh, hold up. I am mixing up. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because this takes place before
Captain
story.
America. Yeah, backup story. But with this story, there is still Wasp involvement. Thank you for the correction, Caster. I gotta be corrected when I'm wrong. Shite. Sorry, guys. Even I have my blonde moments. Yeah. But
hate to cut you off at the knee there, but
no, dude. When you're right, you're right. That's how it is. I fuck up shit too. But what I like about this story is that you see what happens when the whole team basically abandons Stark, and Stark is kind of left to his own devices, and he's like, shit, how am I gonna do this? He thinks he may make some armors to combat it. He even tries to attempt to stop it himself. And he actually puts up a fight, and it's actually kind of made believable, which is cool to see, even against the Hulk and Namor simultaneously. Like, you have the Alpha, and then you have the Ultra Alpha. Like, that is just insane. To like, that's a mountain to climb for Iron Man, considering that he's just a guy in a suit of armor. And it's nice to see how he fights to the very bitter end against it. It's almost inspiring. It really is almost inspiring. So
yes, it is.
I for one enjoyed seeing Tony Stark depicted this way. It was not only refreshing, but it was so cool to see him like fight tooth and nail. Even like when everyone left the team, he still tried to get them back. He still tried to keep everyone involved. He still believed in the idea of having a team no matter what. And it's just like, man, where's my hero-ish Tony Stark? I love seeing this. And then seeing the other heroes get around the armor and try to adapt to it the best again, just so they can overcome the Hulk and Namor. I also love the additional Hulk moment with Rick Jones. I won't say how or why, but the fact that Hulk kind of, let's just say, kind of breaks out of the mold a bit because of his relationship with Rick Jones. I love that because it shows you this writer kept the character of these characters in mind when writing this. Even if it was out of continuity, there are still core elements that still stay intact no matter what. And there's a lot of action too. I mean, come on, a lot of action, and I loved seeing it. So
what are the things
I was gonna close up, but I'll pass off to you. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm gonna give this book a strong 8.8 out of 10. It was a freaking strong issue. Well, Ironcaster, have at it.
So if you back up a page or two,
yeah,
some of the things I really like is I really like the way the energy blasts are coming off of them. It's not the same as like the Kirby Crackle, but like you look at the Hulk there on the left page. There's like something about like the thicker lines and the energy. Just I love the way it really comes off and really pops on the page.
Gil Kane and Klaus Janson did an amazing job on the art.
He killed it. He straight up killed it.
You know, and speaking of killing it, this was a book I was reading at work, and so I had to stop about halfway through it, and at about a certain point in the book, I was led to believe that Iron Man actually killed the Hulk. Like, oh, this is going to be that kind of book. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't go that route where he doesn't kill the Hulk, but to think that he's willing to go to that extent, it kind of I had put myself on a cliffhanger there to believe that he actually was willing to do that. And you know, one of the things I do like though with these what ifs is that they don't always, I don't think if often ever end with a happy ending. It's always something kind of bittersweet at the end, like that helps to in a way emphasize that what we did get ultimately with these stories where they changed was ultimately the best option, in that they're willing to go to those dark routes, because I mean ultimately they don't have to need to hold up like some continuity of we got to come back next issue for Iron Man. Like, no, we can push Iron Man to the extreme and actually cost him everything just to save the day, to be the hero. And that's one of the things I really like with the what ifs, because they're able to do these things. Like, yeah, we'll just make all the Avengers Iron Men. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, now I want to capitalize that because I feel like it makes it more impressive when you can take a story that ultimately does not matter, because it really does. If we're really thinking about this, like logically speaking, they don't matter, but it's amazing how much it knows how to invest you despite not mattering. I feel like, you know, any writer gets that much credit for making you feel invested in a story within, whether it's a 10-page story, a 20, 30-page story, within these issues, to really delve you deep, still care, and then still feel the ending, no matter how sorrowful or bittersweet it is. That is not easy to do.
You know, one other thought I had was in reading these, the Watcher's head is smaller. It occurred to me because in, say, the more modern iterations of Marvel Comics, the Watcher has been often given a fucking giant peach of a head, whereas these are more reserved, and it really stood out to me. It was just one little thing,
a little observance. Okay, cool, dude. Awesome. Shout out to Christian Delorme and Boosh McFadden for being here. Hopefully you guys are doing great. And Diesel, I wholeheartedly, absolutely, positively respect your decision. You have my respect, my friend. There's nothing wrong with being in your position. All right? Cheers to you, sir. All right? Clobberin, go for it. I know you know this comic, so the floor is yours.
Well, I'd just like to say Stan Lee, presents What If? Sorry, I couldn't help it. The stunning saga of an alternate reality. What if the Avengers had never been? And they wouldn't have been if I didn't beg Jack to create them. Anyway, but that's it. you notice, of course, Jim Shooter, for all of his problems, Jim Shooter started writing at a very early age in comics, so he'd been around a while. When he was just by this point, he's working at Marvel, and but he was a writer. He wasn't really one of the editors yet, so much, or certainly not editor in chief yet, really. But he had this co-plotted by penciler the great Gil Kane, who did the pencils in this book, and Klaus Janson is a very overpowering inker. So I'm just going to comment a little bit on the art first, because I love the art on this comic, and a lot of what if issues suffer from. Look, it wasn't a mainline book, and they don't put the big guys on those books sometimes. And there are a lot of what if stories. As interesting as they are, they get sometimes some inferior pencilers and inkers on there. But this was not the case here. Castor is right though. Kane does draw Watcher, and that's just an art. That's just an artistic interpretation thing there, Castor. He doesn't draw the head big or anything like that. You don't even see a lot of Watcher here. So, but Klaus Janson is an overpowering inker, but he's great on Kane. So for me, it's a beautifully put together artistically book. I love it. It takes place, for those who do not know, this book is after Avengers #2. The Hulk did leave the book, but this basically the premise is, the group splits up after like Avengers #1, whatever, and Iron Man can't keep them together, and going forward, that presents a big problem, and the Hulk, and this happened. I don't know if this, it happened where Hulk runs off and teams up with Namor to fight the Avengers. But anyway, so that's basic premise of this comic, except that obviously Thor quits after that, and everybody says, we're not going to. In other words, the Avengers didn't last long. It's called What If the Avengers Had Never Been. In a sense, they sort of were in this story that kind of slightly fudges on it, because they sort of wore it first. It just didn't stay.
Yes, I thought the same. I thought exactly the same. This title is a lie.
Yeah, the title is kind of that happens with a lot of what if issues, though, Pat. Most of it's not the only time, but yeah. Anyway, and so it proceeds from that point where Hulk and Namor team conspire, but they don't have the help of Thor and everybody, which is huge, as you would say, Nick.
Huge.
That really affects the outcome here. And Tony Stark, by the way, good God, I love that armor he's got in this one. I love the damn crazy pointy plates on the headpiece. I just love that.
Oh, it looks
I love that
great.
Iron Man armor. I don't know what it is, man. I know it's silly, but I love it. So it's just a great concept for a story. This is really about what makes this story so good. Work is the heroism of Tony Stark. This is definitely an Iron Man story. The other Avengers, losing a power like Thor, really takes the confidence out of them. And at that time, Hulk was not the ever-loving Hulk, the fun-loving, or the more lovable Hulk. He was pretty dangerous and pretty scary, even in his own title at that time. He was not a team player by any stretch of the imagination, as you know. And Namor wasn't a very nice person either. And so Iron Man decides to take him on in a challenge. And I love the multiple armors that he makes for the others and stuff like that. So basically this is without taking up too much time, Jim Shooter does an excellent job with the ideas here, as does Gil Kane. The art's beautiful, and it has a very touching ending, as I believe Ironcaster was talking about. Most of these what ifs are downers. They always have a downer ending, which makes sense because most Marvel comics have their downer moments, but they're also not, at that time you couldn't be complete downers. Well, what if you get to be basically Twilight Zone for superheroes? And this is a very intelligent story. It is definitely, and what makes a good what if story is it's outlandish, but you go, can I believe that that's the way that would have went down, changing these circumstances? And this, I do believe, does that very well. It's exactly what would have happened, and has a very sad ending. It's very touching. It is one of the best of those older what ifs, in my opinion. So, and if you're an Iron Man fan, it's irresistible. So
Agreed. I'm straight up gonna be hunting for this one. Like when tax return season comes, I'm gonna be hunting for a copy of this one. I'm straight up. I felt some emotions for this issue. I just loved it.
yes,
Absolutely loved it. And just once again, it makes it, as I said earlier, it's so impressive how this one story that's got to be completed in a short span of time makes you feel invested. Despite the downer ending, it makes you feel like the weight of the story, even though it doesn't matter, but it makes you feel like it does. Like, that's
well,
crazy
yes,
to think that way. Like, the story doesn't matter, but it gives you that feeling that it does. Like, hold up,
well,
but this
yeah,
is an alternate reality, yet here I
exactly.
am feeling the way I do. Like, that's insane.
The normal Marvel universe is still there. That's why you're able to cope as a kid or whenever you're reading these. You can cope a little bit better because it doesn't affect the you can read the regular titles and everything. So
Oh
that
yeah.
was the intriguing idea of what if they may as well call it Twilight Zone for superheroes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and this one early on was definitely one of the better ones here. So and I'll let someone else take over now, but I would rate it personally as probably almost a 9, maybe a 9. I'll go with a 9 just for because that's
You're
what if.
going up.
Let me tell you something. What if has a lot of not so good issues as well. I think this is one of the best ones.
All right, killer. Thank you, sir. And Commodore, I see your comment. I'll post a link to the Gilded in case you're not on there, so that way I could have you on there. Diesel's active on there. Vince Womack is. Caster is. Christian is. Boosh is. I would love to have you on there, sir. So please, I would appreciate you joining the Gilded. All right, Pablo, go nuts on this issue.
Dude, this issue is the Iron Man plural. I was not expecting seeing Tony Stark actually making basically Iron Man armors for every single one of the Avengers. By the way, I missed. Maybe he designed something for Thor, but Thor just decided to go to Asgard and keep his realm on check. So okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Namor. This will be the second what if where Namor is kinda the villain. The issue number one of what
Yeah,
if is what if
yeah,
Namor cock blocked Reed Richards, and now what if Namor slapped the shit out of Tony Stark. So interesting the way that they are using that character.
that's the way it was
I
back then, though. Yeah,
Yeah, I really really like this issue. The way that they basically forced the hand of Tony Stark into even overclocking Mark III, because that's basically what he does. He removes the limiters of the capacitors on Mark III and stores as much energy as he can, and pulls everything into his armor. That's overclocking. This guy needed maybe liquid refrigeration or something like that, and maybe he will have been okay. Isn't he cooking inside of the suite? Yes, I'm a nerd. That's what I do. I work with computers. This guy should be frying inside of the armor, because the armor, every single one of the capacitors should be on max heat, about to blow up. Man, do some cooling. Put a couple of fans on the back or something. I don't know. Uh, Goddamn, Dent is a complete downer. Dent is an
yeah,
absolute downer.
it is.
But before that downer and before having the Iron Man saving Iron Man, you
Mm-hmm.
had that small moment when Iron Man was actually besting Namor and the Hulk at the same time. And it was sheer power on the armor and his intelligence. Basically, he strategized even who to take first. Normally, you will think the strategy guy needs to go first because, well, Namor may be more dangerous in some situations. No, the Hulk, the raw muscle. You need to just incapacitate him, and it doesn't really work at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That shows you the incredible power of the Hulk is not until he is on mud. The Hulk can be beaten by mud. That's I was not expecting that. For some reason, I will think that he's about Newtonian laws, but uh, that happened. And Mott is grounded, so shouldn't Mott take away some of the electricity, weakening the? I'm thinking this one too much, right? But yeah, I found some really quirky stuff. This was obviously made for kids, so nobody really paid attention to that kind of crazy things. Uh, what can I say? The art is amazing. The story is
Right.
really, really, really good. The strategy on Tony Stark is really good. The fact that he basically made for the Wasp a suit that could make her one of the most dangerous Avengers, one of the most dangerous beings. Uh,
Mhm.
That that alone is incredible. I never thought the Wasp was that strong. I always thought her about maybe a bit above some humans, but she's still not the best character in the books for me. In this,
Mhm.
she basically takes down Namor.
Yeah.
She one hits Namor, and that's stupid. That is just really crazy. Giant Man taking down the Hulk, everything, and yeah, then Tony Stark, rip. So
Yeah.
that's the point
Awesome.
when, yeah, I will say this was an 8.5, 8.6, but I really recommend it. It's
Right. It's a
really
strong
good.
issue.
Yeah.
It's
Rick
so
Jones was
good.
OP.
Ironcaster, you are on Sciences too, right?
Sorry, what was that?
You are on Sciences too, right?
I'm on what?
On Sciences, because shouldn't Mod take away some of the electricity since the Hulk is grounded?
I mean, I would have thought that with him being in the algae, he should have been like shocked. It should have hit him harder.
Interesting.
But I'm not a scientist, so
Okay.
All right.
I don't understand science. Like all I know is like alcohol works.
Oh, it works. It really, really works.
Guys are funny.
I
Is
know it
that it,
works. I don't have to
Pablo?
understand why it works.
Yeah, that's it. I just
All right.
have a stupid nerd complaints, but this is a nerd book, so why not?
All right. Shout out to the mighty Jaffo. How are you, sir? Nice to see you here in the chat. Thank you for being here. Cheers and beers to you, sir. Thank you. Hopefully, you're having a good Friday night. All right, Fenrir, talk about what if the Avengers had never been.
Well, you boys pretty much took all the good words out of the air, so I'm gonna have to go with the simplistic ones. I did enjoy this story
All right.
deeply. It was it's a much deeper understanding of the character of Tony Stark that we don't normally get anymore nowadays. Mostly they just depict him as a drunk, which he is, but without deep, without
He's
more
still a
deep. In
hero
this one,
first.
yes, and in this one it shows it specifically as he has to take the shots and well make the choices of actually killing, if the point comes to it. And as you see his movement as a character, it's pretty good. Specifically as how he shows in strategy and all that, and it's with the art, it's a pretty good stuff. Seriously, you guys took all the good words. Damn it. Okay.
Hey,
Like,
speak about it in your own words.
Yeah, speak on Fenrir words.
If I do that, I'm gonna sound like Bullwinkle.
That's fine. I welcome it. The chat welcomes it.
Bullwinkelus.
Bullwinkle.
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a
Bullwinkle.
rabbit out of my hat.
But yeah, this was good. I enjoyed, and I'm gonna say his death in this one was way more heavy than an Endgame. Just seriously, way more heavy for me.
That's saying a lot.
It was a good
I actually like
characterization.
the ending of Endgame, but okay, killer. No, dude,
It is.
I'm glad.
I really did
it's
like.
a very heroic ending. It's a really damn good.
It is
hero's
heroic, but
death.
I'm just saying this one beats it. Just saying.
Fenrir, you're
Okay.
right on that. He was actually willing to take everything alone to tackle two of the most dangerous characters on that moment on Marvel. So yeah, and the fact that when the other Avengers got into the fight, he was basically already dead. He was just
Damn
on
right.
his last straw.
Yeah, dead
Damn
on
right.
arrival.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm
He was
giving this
dead on
one
arrival. And he's
just like Paulie, an 8.5
Go
out
ahead.
of 10. Really a deep recommend. Art's good, writing is good, characterization's good. Watch it. The battle against Hulk, pretty much a force of nature, is one for always to read if you enjoy those kinds of things. I enjoy Hulk as a hero, but him as a force of nature is also good if done right. And here it's obviously done right.
All right. This one's a nice one because, as many of you in the comic shop talk, whether you're on the panel or in the chat, for a nice whole, 3 weeks to a month, we dedicated our time to covering the original The Man Called Nova run. So this is kind of, and there's the Spider-Man issue as well. This is kind of like the extension, not so epilogue, if you will, with this issue. And you know what? I'm going to let Clawby have at it with this issue first for a plot twist.
It was his idea to start with this.
Right? So we let the man go first.
All righty. Well, let's see here. Let me pull it up here so I can see it better. That's number 15, right?
Correct. What if issue number 15?
I got it
Still
right here.
Marv Wolfman involved. Still Marv Wolfman.
Yes, it is. I just wanted to have where I could see it here. So, what if Stan Lee presents What If Nova had been 4 other people? The Fantastic Four, Peter Parker, Dr. Doom. Characters I created, and I even created Nova, even though Marv did that. Yeah, sorry. A stunning saga, an alternate reality. Sorry. Marv Wolfman, co-story and co-editor. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, so there are multiple stories here about Nova, as you all know, his origin. There's a framing sequence that retells his origin in this book. For those, because they figured maybe some readers to this series have not read Nova. Fair enough, right?
All right.
The opening, this I gotta tell you, everybody, this comic is batshit insane. It's cray. I don't know if you guys read it. I'm sure you.
Oh, I did.
Holy shit! First of all,
needs more fancy Dan.
It was interesting to see Walt Simonson and Bob Wycheck do the art on the first story. This is some very early Walt Simonson work, where this lady has her husband, I believe, murdered by a burglar or by a mugger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's basically Frank Castle as a woman, because she gets, after it happens and she's she wants to track down the scum of the earth who mugged and mugged them and killed her beloved husband. And then one day she's walking around, and again, it's never really explained why the beam hits her. But it does. Great art by Simonson in this. I thought, again, and she just, when she gets these powers, and again, when it blasts her, and there's the costume right there. She just gets the costume, right? Boom! It's just
right.
Not a lot is explained here by Marv. He was in a hurry. I don't know. So she becomes basically this vengeful, powerful Nova who doesn't give a shit about villains. She just wants to chase down the creep the Joe Chill that killed her, her hubby. And then Kingpin starts to get annoyed with her crap. And then she beats the crap out of him. She kills Kingpin, right? She's killing people. This is a violent comic right here.
My God, it's Brie Larson's Captain Marvel
hilarious.
before Brie Larson.
But
It's like Captain Marvel works well as a villain.
yes,
I can forget Captain Marvel for his portrayal as a villain movie.
she's
Hey,
not
really
trying
good.
to be a hero. That's the
No,
point.
she's
In
not.
this
This is
story,
hilarious.
she's basically okay. I have power. I can take down
Right.
people that I don't like.
She's just killing everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So it's
It's
not
just-
like Brie Larson, the Captain Marvel, that is basically
Right.
I'm a hero. I'm the best as ever. No, he's like
Right.
I'm gonna fuck up some people, and nobody's
So-
gonna stop me because I
Yeah,
can.
and
She's
all
running
these
around-
stories, because we ultimately get like 4 stories that we have to fit within about 8 pages each.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has to get right to the point.
Yeah, they cut a lot of corners of the story. But what I was basically saying is that you get to the point where, he doesn't have a lot of time to tell a story, as you guys say. So in this story, the Fantastic Four is involved, gets involved. They have a big fight, and well, the Fantastic Four capture her. They find out what's going on, but they really never learn about Nova Prime. There's nothing really addressed about Nova Prime in this one, right? We just find out she killed
really.
She killed the dude, and then they find the guy dead. And that's that. The next story with some Carmen Infantino art. Sorry, guys. About this is a weird one too. You got this. It's a Christmas type story with this old. Not too old, but this vagabond fellow, nice fellow, goes to an orphanage and starts telling stories, and he's a real likable guy. The kids love him and all this stuff. The Skrulls are watching him for some reason. And then when they go after him, they shoot him, and then he's got a Nova costume. I didn't see that coming. I'm like, I was wondering the whole time when I first read the story, what does this got to do with Nova? And then it's just he never hints of that he had, but because you know the comic book you're reading, you know it's got to be something to do with Nova, right? So the dude is Nova. All of a sudden, he's again. Do we learn anything about how it happened? No, he just fights Skrulls and kicks their ass, and then he goes to their ship and fights them. And this guy is, let's see here, he saves the Earth by blowing up the ship, and they see the star in heaven because it's a Christmas story. Get it? And again, we don't learn anything about why they got blasted, but it's kind of a cute story with Infantino art. But what are you going to do? And then Peter Parker. This was funny.
Oh yeah,
this
right.
One, man, Marv, what in the hell's wrong with you? This comic is batshit insane. I love the.
You felt the same way I did about Peter Parker.
It's insane,
even though it was an alternate story. I still had a hard time comprehending that.
Okay, can I say something really controversial here?
Yeah.
This issue is basically perfect representation, modern day style representation. You have what if Nova was a woman? What if Nova was a black guy? What if Nova was a cripple? And what if Nova was a minority from Europe?
Very good point. And here you have Peter Parker. The spider cripples him.
All we're missing is what if Nova was gay?
A radiation, that was a little early for that. What are you going to do? But he becomes crippled, because of the spider bite. Poor Aunt May dies, and so this is the most down. You think Nova was a Debbie Downer? Like Richard Rider always talking about how shitty his life was and how messed up everything was for him. And Peter Parker generally did that a lot too, but not as bad as Richard Rider sometimes. And this guy hates life. Peter Parker hates everything that's happened to him. When he gets blasted by Nova Prime and can use his powers, he can actually do stuff now as Nova. He goes after some burglar breaking into the house, and he saves Uncle Ben, the burglar. Get it?
Yep.
As Nova. And you're like, okay. You're going, this is pretty. So you're reading the story going, it's messed up, but it's kind of cool. Now he's gonna become Peter Parker, Nova's superhero and stuff, because he's just instead of Spider-Man. And at the end, he throws the goddamn costume away.
Yes.
Marv, dude.
This made no freaking sense. Oh, wait, no, it's because the writer of this had a premonition of how comics would be in the future, and because Peter was a straight white guy, he had to give it up, unlike the other ones.
But he was a cripple, man. He was a cripple.
It was crazy. But
still white.
The last story, we get some George Perez art kind of muddled up by Tom Palmer, rest his soul. Both of those gentlemen passed away this year, two great artists, but Palmer inking Perez is a little strong. But you get a story with the villain. You get Red Skull and Doctor Doom and Sphinx. Like, what in the hell? But this asshole with the powers, do we ever even know anything about him other than he's just a jerk?
No, they never even say his name.
Why did Prime blast that guy?
Yeah, and the exact way you know he's evil is
it's random.
He has cigarette. The cigarette.
But there's something really, really wrong about him being Nova, because it's not even Nova Prime the one that chooses the next target. Basically,
that's
is this Nova random, Force or whatever you want to call it that chooses someone that is worthy for the power.
I guess it's a malfunction though, Pablo. That something happened.
Yeah.
And each beam was like, because it found Richard Rider, a decent fellow. It went for a crazy lady who just was basically being Frank Castle. It went for, you think Peter Parker would have been a good choice, and then the story goes at the end is ridiculous. And this one, you got some nice Perez art, kind of muddied by the Palmer thing. I kind of like how he's fighting the villains and stuff. It's kind of fun, but this guy's just a scumbag.
Oh yeah, even against the Sphinx, Doom. Yeah, he's scum.
This story's just,
He's a villain.
And
I think ultimately
crazy.
Ultimately this is just kind of doing the what if Nova was a villain story.
Yes.
Kind of, but he was other things too. He was, what if Nova was a Debbie Downer, a villain, a psycho, a Punisher? I basically got Nova as the Punisher. Nova is I don't know what you want to call it, manic depressive, Nova as a saint, a soulful saint like the Christmas story guy, and Nova as a thug. So it's all very interesting, but it's all crazy. So I rate this book only for it's so irresistibly funny. These crazy, just nuts stuff. Did I give it almost like maybe a 6.5 to a 7 just for having in some spaces some pretty good art, and also just make you laugh out loud at how the conclusions that Marv wants you to buy into. If you see what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's just it's fun read. It's just crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a trip, this issue, and I'm glad you say that, because as sounds like you've made your peace now with this one. We're gonna transition here.
Sorry to take some
before
time.
we do transition. Shout out to the Basco scenario. How are you, sir?
Hey,
GAP After Dark. What's up? What's up? My guy Brian Yoder. Do not ever worry about being late.
Brian.
I'm just happy you're here. Whether it's 5 minutes or the whole show, I don't care. And Captain Marvel may as well should have been a villain. Now let's carry forward with this issue. I'm gonna go. Following up Klobby is gonna be tough, but
I'm sorry.
Tell you what, man, I was kind of entertained, by the way, with the ginger lady being Nova, because man, I didn't see the twist coming where she'd be getting involved with the Kingpin. I did not see that twist coming. Cool. So I'm like, okay. And like you said, you get all the iterations of what Nova could be, whether it's a saint or someone who's out of control with their emotions, of how to handle death in their life, or people who are close to them that get hurt. Or, of course, with Peter Parker, who takes it the absolute wrong way. Like, there's so many emotions to feel from this one story. I would say, like, for her story, like, I'd say I fairly enjoyed this one. Obviously, having the Kingpin involved was good. It's your standard, predictable, here goes to the dark side type of story, but it plays off well, especially if you know the Richard Rider, Marv Wolfman original run. Because you're thinking, wow, this is something Nova totally wouldn't do. So you're thinking that in your head. That's my preconceived notion. So that's where I'm coming from perspective-wise, is that original run. And I'm like, wow, okay, yeah. You're seeing these headlines, and she's kicking ass and taking names in the absolute worst way possible. Fantastic Four ain't happy with it. They try to contain her, and then she learns about how everything ends towards the end. You see here, it was all just that. It just goes to show you what happens when you let, once again, certain feelings consume you. And I wanted to like this story more. I'm a big fan for a Christmas story. I'm a big sucker. I feel like this one could have been done a little bit better. I get it that there was not a lot of pages. You had limited room to work something in. I feel like there were some good ideas here, showing up at the random house, being let in. That's, I guess you could say, a standard trope. I'm fine with the standard trope, but I feel like this could benefit from another 2 or 3 pages.
It's a little choppy. Yeah.
Yes. And I like the idea, with him, protecting the house, making sure everyone's fine. I thought that was fine. I guess you could say it was a pretty good story.
Whoa.
But I do what?
That scroll on the right page in the fourth panel.
Oh, he's got some teeth. I know.
Yeah, it's just that face.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I
Whoa.
know, right? I do like, and I'm
This
glad
is
you're
a
gonna add.
likable story,
I do,
though. This one here.
I do like the way the scrolls are drawn in this. I do. I actually like them. They're supposed to look evil. They're supposed to look deceitful. Absolutely deceitful. So I'm with that. I'd say that story in itself is probably like a 6.5 out of 10. I'd say the previous story gets like a 7, but I really like the Peter Parker story because this right here, the fact that he lets everything get to him, the fact that Aunt May died, even though it literally wasn't his fault, he still feels the hurt, like he still had fault in it. There's still an element of that still feels very Peter Parker-ish, because the fact is, for Peter Parker, he does his best to, for better and or for worse, depending how you interpret it, he still has a little bit of a fairy tale imagination. And it's not for realism or unrealism's sake. It's just he wants the best for anyone possible. So it feels like it's very Peter Parker-ish in that right. But it shows that even when he regains the power, he's still not satisfied. And also, unlike the original Spider-Man run, the spider bite damages him more than he usually does. So I thought that was a nice little touch, a little play on the original story. I thought that was a cool touch that it damaged him more than usual to it, where it made it a handicap. And then it took the Nova power to really get him back on his feet, literally back on his feet. I thought that was cool. And I liked how instead of Aunt May was the one who died first, we got Uncle Ben almost getting attacked. And even though he had done literal self-defense, it becomes a Nova no more versus Spider-Man no more.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed the story. I will probably actually give this one like a 7.7-ish out of 10.
I'm not sure I buy into Peter Parker quitting like that at the end, though, buddy. I don't. Think
I understand. I understand that's a fair argument. I feel like there are some questionable decisions, and the only reason why I forgive it is because of the
what if, yeah,
non-continuity. What if?
Sure.
If it was the 616, you and I, sir, would be having a very different convo on that. Oh, a very different convo. And as far as the story, not gonna lie, I wanted to like this one. I really did, but I feel like personally, this is I'm gonna dare say the worst one. I always try to be a little,
I hear you.
Constructively contrarian. Maybe even, as Clobberin said, diplomatic. I think this story kind of sucked. Even I hate saying
totally
that, but I kind of feel like it.
I love the art by Perez.
Yeah, it did.
But I do
the art's great.
Oh, it's great.
I love the art.
Even with Palmer muddying it up a little.
It's like, okay, you think this is going to be cool because you got the Sphinx involved, along with the Red Skull, Doctor Doom. But it's just typical Nova being a villain and making out-of-character moves. There's nothing good. It's just, story-wise, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I love this last page. I'll say that. I love the way it's drawn. I do. I think
that's a beautiful page with the Sphinx right there. That's amazing. Yep. George Perez, page. George Perez is just, and then even, Tom Palmer's a great artist too. Just their inks are not his inking. Perez, I have some issues with, but that page is gorgeous. There's no question about it.
Oh yeah, dude. Seriously, that is a freaking amazing page, and it still makes me kind of like, why aren't you guys doing something with the Sphinx? This is a great character that you could do something with, or potential. I would love stuff with the Sphinx. And I saw G-Buddy comment earlier. What if Diamond Head didn't have Red Skull mask when he's a kid? We need more Diamond Head, and also to double down on Diamond Head, we need more of the Condor. I will straight up fight for the Condor. That guy was fucking awesome. I've not swore a lot this time. I've actually.
If Nick had one issue, If we could just do one issue of Marvel Comics, it would be like the Condor and Fancy Dan and the Sphinx teaming up.
My God, that would be the
Dude,
most powerful
you're
team up in the
treating me
history of
to a
Marvel.
good time with a guest appearance by Slide.
After that, it doesn't matter what hero we got. We could have made it about like, not even Nova, but like Speedball.
Yes,
All of them playing Speedball.
Speedball. I'm gonna
Oh,
go
that would
Speedball
be so
figure one
stupid
day.
fun.
Mark my words. I'm not joking. I'm going.
What? Okay, what if Fancy Dan, the Condor, and the Sphinx prevented the catastrophe that started Civil War?
Oh,
That will be a Fancy Dan, the Sphinx, and Condor against Speedball. So that works. That completely works.
Well, while we are still here, then talking about this issue and what if Nick did? What if Nick Weiser didn't love the Condor and Nick, right? What if? I know, right? Pablo, go for it. I want you to talk about this issue, this very interesting issue. Overall, before I give it to Pablo, I'm gonna go with a 7-ish.
Overall, or
overall.
Fair enough.
I think the last story really hurt it for me.
But it is so much fun and how crazy some of it is. So.
Oh yeah,
I think,
it's. I still would recommend it as a read.
Sure.
I actually really like the Peter Parker story and the first story. Second story is a bit of a mixed bag, but the fourth story really hurts it. Like really
I hear you, man.
hurts it. And it takes a lot for me to like really not be a fan of something. Obviously, the art's worth the look, so I'll recommend it for the art, but that's it. All right, Pablo, I'm shutting up now.
Dude, just for this one, the Kingpin should be the King Pimp because he pimps slaps Nova. Straight up. This issue was so completely bonkers. I had a lot of enjoyment. I laughed with the just sheer stupidity of some of the panels. But yeah, you have what if Nova was a Karen? What if Nova was a black guy? What if Nova was a cripple? And what if Nova was a crook? Completely weird, completely out of nowhere. Let's begin with Karen. She just kills everyone. Goddamn, she doesn't hesitate. He doesn't think twice about it.
She's a
When
crazy
there are no more-
broad.
The punish.
when there are no more managers
The Nova-
in
or
hell
Nova
for her for Karen.
Yeah, she's the Nova sure, I guess.
Yeah, she throws the Kingpin out of a building and watches him fall to the.
I mean, he literally pretty much begged for her to save him.
Yes.
Nope.
It's completely out of any logic. In this era of comics, you will go a bit more soft. But again, this is a what if, so nobody cares about repercussions on the general Marvel universe or anything. So just go ahead. Then, for some reason, you go from somebody killing people to Christmas with the scrolls. Is just a lot of funerals, Christmas with the scrolls. Yeah, why not?
Christmas with the scrolls.
Let's do it.
Man.
And the scrolls are really creepy on this one. The drawing of the scrolls is a mix between apes and guys with terrible noses. And I don't know what was. Can you go? I think it was page around 14, 15. There you go. There you go. First panel.
Yeah.
Very first panel. That face, man. What the hell was going on?
Carmen, look, I love Carmen. Bless his soul. Carmen Infantino was very old at that point. And he's done even way worse than that at that point. So this is actually good for that era for him.
Something that I didn't understand were the kids scrolls too.
No. Kids? No,
okay.
the kids weren't scrolling.
No, the scrolls just appear out of a door, right?
The thing is, Frank Springer inked him on it too. That doesn't help. Sorry, B, but I think you're a Springer guy. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, the
You
art
know me.
is
I always
really
got to talk about the
confusing.
artist. I can't help it. Sorry.
No, you are right, and the art is confusing. I just know that Nova can take a ray gun, just straight up a ray gun. Then he can just magically shift to his uniform because plot. You can see that his shirt is completely destroyed by or sweater or whatever was completely destroyed by the gun. Then he takes out that shirt and underneath somehow is the Nova costume, even though you have seen that there's nothing under that.
Comic
That is
book
not.
logic, bro.
Yeah,
Comic book
completely
logic.
comic book logic. The scrolls with their crazy transformations, and everybody's safe except that Nova is not with the scrolls. Then Nova fights in the ship, and is so people celebrate seeing the star that is the scroll ship blowing up with Nova inside. The magic of Christmas, why not?
Yeah, it's always better when there's a death.
Christmas carols to the Star of
Christopher
Death.
Scrolls coming to a theater near you. And before Pablo carries on, shout out to Agent Decibel and Wakazashi's Tea House. How are you, gentlemen? Thank you for
Hey.
being here, listening in on the stream.
I know
Carry
that
on,
guy.
Pablo, about this interesting, intriguing comic.
By the way, there's something. Nova is basically committing suicide on Christmas, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's a depressed white man on Christmas, but he's black. That's the moral of the story. I have nothing about that. Peter Parker gets bitten by the spider and goes crippled. That's actually quite
But
realistic.
Centurion
yeah.
Prime gives him the real power.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
a good contrast if
We
you
never
think
see
about
him,
it.
though.
Spider-Man for no Peter. If you're gonna give the Nova power to someone else within the established heroes, it makes sense that it's Peter Parker because of them already having their default similarities by way of their age.
No, but this one actually begins quite realistic. If you get a spider that is poisoned by radioactivity, something bad is gonna happen to you. You are not walking out there with powers. You are normally not walking out there. The fact that Peter Parker survives might be the more fantastical part of that story. Then Aunt May dies just because, well, her heart. That's it. She sees Peter on the hospital and she's like, "I'm dying," and she dies. So, no moral of the story, no message for Peter Parker, no anything that changes his outlook on life. It's just, "I'm dead," and she's dead. This
Yeah.
But
comic was.
isn't it a little bit of a relief to not get the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech for once with a Spider-Man story?
That's why
Yeah, a
he.
little bit.
Yeah, at the end, maybe that's why he leaves the suit in the garbage because he's not getting rid of the powers. He cannot. Basically, he's still Nova. He just doesn't have the suit. But uh, he didn't learn about having powers and about the responsibility of having such powers. So he thinks that he can just live being Nova there. So he has the great power. He just doesn't know the great responsibility, and that's part of this comic. He is just away from that part. That's why I say Aunt May just dies. There's no moral story. There's nothing to actually make him think about his position on the world or rethink his outlook on everything. He's just, "I'm dead." That okay. A couple of panels of Uncle Ben mourning him, and that's it. Maybe if you had a full page of more reactions, I don't know. Then Peter is trying to get rid of his crippleness because he's a scientist, okay? And just get hit by the ray, and he's Nova now. with everything with costume, everything. Why not? And obviously, what he does is saves Uncle Ben. Um, okay. Uh, Again, he doesn't get any moral story, anything, so he just leaves his suite away and he stops being a superhero. The only interesting part about that is, yeah, the police is, it was self-defense. Go away. We don't care. Okay, uh, that checks out. The part of him having superpowers and everything was nothing for the police. They didn't care. Maybe they have governmental organizations just to check out on this, right? At this point, there's Shield and everything. Wouldn't be Shield knocking at the door? Hey guys, we want to talk with this super powered fellow about killing someone. No. Uh, okay, this comic has no logic. What can I say? Everything on this comic has no logic whatsoever.
It's old school comics. They don't need logic. They just need to be fun.
And then you have a bunch of villains being villains, and Doctor Doom dying because he wanted to take out Nova because he's greedy.
All right.
Of course.
Makes
Pablo.
sense.
Yeah,
That's it. This is a 7.3 out of 10.
Okay.
There's a lot of head scratchers. There's a lot of crazy stuff. It's fun as hell. I won't say that is not fun because it is. But once you try to think about the logic of everything, even for comic books, this is completely out of the whack. And I mean
Agreed.
it.
Straight up agree with you. Thank you, Pablo. Well, freaking said, you powerhouse 7 of an argument, man. And Philip A. Demick says they should have done What If Alicia Master became. I would actually like to see that. I really, really would like to see that. That would make a great What If story. That is a hell of a comment there, sir. Thank you. And Wakazashi, I would love to have you on. Would love to have you on. As long as I know you're available at this time zone time, you and I will talk, okay? We'll message each other. It'll be great.
This would be like 9 or 11 a.m. from.
Good.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them on. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic, and we got a direct donation as well.
Yippee!
And Brian Yoder for $25 says, seeing the response to what Hollywood is putting out now and the support for independent creators is giving me hope that we might see good storytelling come back. In the meantime, we can enjoy the old stuff. You know what? You're right. And I want to capitalize on that comment, Brian. Thank you for $25, by the way. But next week, I should be having, within the week to 10 days at most, ISOM #1. Not just that, but also Inglorious Rex from Shane Davis as well arriving as well. So yes, I will be doing individual reviews for those books and talk about it on stream. Because why the hell would I not? And yes, if it does come in early next week, and at least a few of us get on here, we will talk about ISOM. But those books will be talked about. And I am very, very optimistic of what can possibly be in a good future where we have more action movies that are, whether it's buddy cop or just cool comics where it's traditional superheroism, Silver Age style. I feel like we got a ways to get there. I do feel like it's not going to be something that happens overnight. I think we're in around if I had to guess, maybe 10 to 15 year run. I know that's a ways away. I know. But if it happens sooner, I'd be glad to be wrong. But I'm just what I think big picture speaking. Because a lot of the crazies who got into a position came to a position and it takes a while for them to let go. So I think that's the real best game they'll let go. And I think once you get there, though, it's going to make the victory all that much more worth it. And that way, all our cheersing will have greater meaning than ever before. Thank you again, Brian, for your $12 and for your continued support. And dude, whenever the membership stuff kicks in, you're getting some no matter what, and you're going to accept it. It's great. Go ahead, Cassie. Look like you want to say something.
I'll just say, just with the current state of entertainment, like, I'm in a position where I have all kinds of terrible shark movies to enjoy. Me and Agent Decibel in the chat have been, for example, talking over some bad shark movies. I've been showing him stuff like Shark Side of the Moon, and he in turn showed me Shark House, about a basically Jaws, but in a house. So there's of course, a dorsal fin and a toilet seat.
How would that work?
What?
These are the movies that would be on the Sci-Fi Channel.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
My mind can't even. I'm
Land
trying to figure
Shark,
out
sure.
how.
Is he played by Chevy Chase, Land Shark?
Yeah, if it's a shark,
It
it can breathe
should
on
be.
land, or the ground is like the ocean to it. It makes some sense, but a house.
These
How?
movies absolutely are terrible, but they're like a good kind of terrible. And I would much rather watch these than anything being put out by the current industry. At least I know
you are
with
really
these,
right.
yeah, at least with these, I know I'm gonna get like
Some dumb
the
fun.
horror tropes of like of unlikable characters being killed off.
And this is B movies, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You might get nudity, you might get tits.
Yep, absolutely. You'll get all that sort of stuff. It's like, of course, I want to watch Attack of the Killer Donuts.
Well, who wouldn't?
Nice.
No, that sounds good.
I love how
The
Nick
donuts
looks like
come
he's
to
like
life.
Nick looks like he's just kind of accepting like these are movies that exist. I can't believe this.
Someone's been smoking too much dope.
No,
Man.
that's not dope, man. Dope makes you want to eat a whole bowl of spaghetti and then some, but no, this is something different. This is something special. This is rooms.
This is realizing that like the that a movie exists just because of a pun of a name.
Yes. All right.
But at least they're
clarify
fun.
Vince's comic real quick. Ripa starts shipping out Monday, which will probably be like late Monday night / Tuesday your time. So he will be shipping then. And Shane Davis posted earlier today, I think, on his Indiegogo that he's gonna be shipping in a few days. So I can't wait to talk about some more comics. So this is something. I'm not one of those guys who just puts out video just to put out video. I'm one of those I need to put out when it's something I really feel invested in, and even whether I like it or not, it's just I want to really talk about it. And you guys will get videos on those individually with extended, more in-depth talk with the stream. So, all right, Caster.
Okay, so this was a heck of a read because this is extensively taking 4 completely different angles of what could have been Nova and going just 4 completely different routes with it. First and foremost, we have the revenge tale with our redhead who wants to just go about and get revenge for the death of her husband.
Yes.
And I thought it was a nice touch to bring in the Kingpin with that one.
Yes, I
think
did too.
I think ultimately of the 4, though, that was probably the best of the book.
Okay.
Just because, like, with having the touch of the Kingpin and then bringing in the Fantastic Four, you get a connection to the greater Marvel universe in a way that doesn't work quite with the Skrull story. I can't talk so much to the art aspects like Klobby did, but I ultimately like the story better just because, come on, it's the Kingpin. and it's more grounded to enjoy.
Okay.
There are our story about the scrolls with the man who's super charitable has some phenomenal art with those scroll faces as so foreign
Yes.
that you gotta kind of stop and stare anytime you see the scrolls on screen in this particular story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a weaker story, I think, ultimately. And unfortunately, I think of the four stories, ultimately, our revenge story from the first one is probably the strongest of the four.
Mm-hmm.
The Peter Parker story is ultimately just kind of a fun what if Peter Parker got the powers of Nova, which, yeah, that's fun. But it's one I would ultimately probably overlook. If it wasn't for the fact that it was Peter Parker and Uncle Ben lived.
Yeah.
And finally, you get the story of getting a villain as our Nova,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is probably my second favorite because it's got Doctor Doom as being one of the big villains of it. And also the fact that they took the time to make the Sphinx part of the Kabbalah villains. Like
Mm-hmm.
to have him alongside Doctor Doom and the Red Skull, I think is a good touch that feels like when they were working on this, they were at least aware of him as a villain for Nova to have.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say probably just because it included the Sphinx, it's my, I don't want to quite say favorite of the lot, but it's the one I'm going to give the special star to.
Okay. Okay.
The book overall is like a 7.5 out of 10. It has stuff I
Okay.
like. It's got some weaker stories, but it's a fun read, and it has some phenomenal art. And also, I freaking love seeing Nova with the cigar there.
Agreed.
Ah.
Bush's comment. I really like the new one if they made all the most popular character Miles Morales. So it shows you guys are hilarious. I feel like I don't got Fenrir. Fenrir, did we give you a chance to go?
Oh no, I'm
By
just
Odin,
I've just been by here waiting out
Well,
waiting
then
your
you're
boys
gonna
doing out in
go.
peace.
Let's bring it back
by
up
Odin,
one last time for you. And before we do, shout out to TZ Canadian. How are you, sir? Thank you for dropping in.
by Odin's fate. Let's get your opinion.
Yeah, dude, Fender. I'm sorry, man.
God.
No, we'll get you. We'll get you first for the issue after two.
I'm just gonna say one thing first. I enjoy the fact that the Watcher's not a big head here. He's just a fat guy. I enjoy that.
Okay.
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 Going forward, this story goes into a lot of the deepness of what it actually means to be the hero endlessly because we see numerous versions of the character getting their own powers and each one doing their specific thing with it. Two of them, which, of course, two for irresponsible, one of which was more neutral, and the other one was more heroic. It was a very good one. First point, can we go to the redhead?
Okay. Just for you. All right.
All right,
Red
I'll
Hell
admit
is
I
more
enjoyed
dangerous.
this. Yep, I enjoyed this psycho crazy lady story, mainly because while reading it, I was thinking it was Captain Marvel, because seeing modern time, it actually makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from we start seeing her watching her husband die, yes, that is something cruel that we've many years have seen die. But the way she takes it, allowing her emotion to consume her, and just going on a straight up murder spree, she was literally a crazy broad. It shows.
Yeah.
When doing the job of a hero, you need to at least control a bit of emotion. You can't let it consume you completely or it will destroy you. I'll enjoy. And I'll admit one thing. I'll go to the Kingpin page there. Nick,
And what was that?
Kingpin, please.
There
Okay.
you go.
I'll
Kingpin.
admit I'll enjoy watching the pimp named Kingpin smack this one, because then he got smacked himself as he fell and literally begged for his life as he was literally going down, and she did nothing, just watched. That just shows how sick this character is. She's not the hero of the story. She is literally the villain. Very psychopath. I enjoy the Fantastic Four taking her down. Borderline, this was more of a villain story, and I'll admit I enjoyed it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Now going to the next story.
All right. Let me
Please. The Christmas Carol, I must say, none of you guys gave it enough credit, and I believe it is because I think the most of you were just pissed that he is black now.
You Novaists. You're a bunch of Novaists.
Yes, you are a bunch of damn Novas. You Novas. Yeah, but the story beside this was a fun tale. And so I enjoyed the man. At the beginning, I thought maybe these characters had some kind of connection to Nova deep down that I didn't know. So I kind of thought this guy was you know who, but it wasn't. So yeah, it's kind of shocked. All thing I can say is enjoy the scrollish design as monster. It made him look more monstrous, and in its own way made him look more alien, which I don't think they get a lot more anymore, which was good. All I can say is it's a good frosty Christmas night. The stars are shining, and an explosion happened. The scrolls are burning, and a black guy died for no reason. Basically, Merry Christmas, children. I gave the old one at least a 9 out of 10. This one, well, I enjoy the what ifs of Peter Parker and the paths that he takes differently with Spider-Man, the different effects it has upon him. I must admit, this version of the spider bite affecting him differently, it does make more sense on scientific wise, but it was an interesting take. And I know you guys are gonna think I'm a very sick bastard for saying this, but I don't really have much problems with Aunt May dying. Look, I'm gonna admit it. Originally in the comics, she was very annoying and pretty much more of a burden.
Hey,
at least in Spectacular, they tried to make him. She tried to make him at least understandable, but here in comics, she was just a pain. God damn it,
dude!
Seriously, I enjoy.
You can suffer her a lot. It doesn't matter. She gets you Mary Jane at the end, so.
Yeah, I know MJ is great, but still, man, prefer Uncle Ben alive. But yeah, in this one, Parker was, as Clobby said, a whiny little girl. He hated everything, and his wife was constantly pissed off. Seriously, I thought at the end he was just gonna jump off a building or something. But at least as he got the Nova powers, it became kind of cool. But then he just gave them up for just because of one mistake that was actually not completely his fault.
It wasn't even his fault.
Yeah, exactly. That was stupid. I mean, it would make sense if he continued as Nova and tried to make amends for that and be a better hero, but it made no sense. It was,
Guilt
it was
motivated
ridiculous.
Spider-Man. It should have motivated the Peter Parker Nova. Like, I made a mistake. I need to use these powers.
Exactly.
We're good, yeah.
Exactly. That's why I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was the weakest for me. It was the weakest comic for me. Even more weak than the one we're going to take on nextly, the Villainous Nova. Which again, it is a good analyzation to see a version of a character that's villainous. I mean, we don't even know if this is actual Richard Rider. Hell, we don't even know who the hell this guy is. Seriously, all we know is he's a smoker.
Not Rich Rider. Yeah.
The point is, it shows that the raid was random, right? I can't exactly remember. It was not picked by Roman Day.
In this version, yes.
Let me get to it. Sorry. I got given a looking quesadilla, and as I'm transitioning over, shout out to my guy Dave Serta in the chat. How you doing? Herod of Alexandria. How are you doing? And what if Nick Weiser as Nova, I would love to be Nova. To answer your question,
Hell yeah.
If Nick was
that.
Nova, he'd
Nick-
probably steal the world's supply of pizza.
We gotta get you a
All right.
helmet.
Well, let's give me a
You'd do that,
helmet. All
Nick.
right.
I know you'd do that.
I'll,
But yeah,
all right, Fenrir. Let me. I interrupted you, so you continue, sir.
well, yes. This story just, like, I'm gonna admit, it wasn't really that. There was a good amount of action. The art was great, and literally, it's the only things that keep it above the Peter Parker tale. But this story didn't do much for me. I mean, it was just gives too much without actually building. And since it was the last, I mean, they could have taken their time and just explained a little more what was going on. Even if it was just freaking exposition. But yeah, this last one was kind of weak for me. I'm giving it at least a 7 out of 10. It was weak. I mean, I enjoyed watching the Sphinx back, but just too. It wasn't doing it for me. It was like eating dry pizza without cheese. It wasn't doing it for me.
Okay.
You mean bread?
Okay.
Yeah, pretty
Good
much.
and bread. Transwiser. You guys are so funny. All right. Well, unfortunately, I had to deliver some
As a
slightly
whole,
bummerish news. Go ahead.
it's 8.5. As a whole, this whole comic is 8.5.
Oh, he's got a little bit more of a generous score. Okay. I'll totally respect that. You definitely put. Oh, I know. And you know what? I don't regret it. It was a perfect day, too. I had more time on my hands. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have fun with this. And it was great. And I had many of them block me. Some of them try to go a little extra on me. And it's all good. You know, it happens. I'm past the day. And they'll probably be going after me into the morning. Whatever. And Vince Womack, to answer your question, I made fun of how fucking ugly Namor looks in the upcoming Black Panther sequel. So everyone just try to insult me, try to shame me out of my position. And no matter what they said, they couldn't do it. Like, you get. Luckily, there were actually a few who were actually more constructive. I'll be fair here, there were probably like about 5. But the rest, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to just have fun with it. And I did. But there was a few who wanted to actually listen to what I had to say. But most of them just, who cares? I had fun with it, and they took the bait, and I kept going for it. So I would just say a bunch of stupid comments just to go along with their crap, and it was fun. So it is what it is. We're past it now. I'm here with you guys, so this is what matters. The Comic Shop Talk. But anyways, I got some unfortunate bummer news. Our guy Pablo has to go, and we're gonna really miss the rest of the show without Pablo.
Damn, dude.
What? No, this can't be real. I'm the one who leaves.
Normally, yes.
The universe is out of order.
Pablo.
Okay.
What is wrong here?
Before I go, I'm the Latino perspective here, so I will say directly that Tenoch Huerta Namor sucks ass. And I mean it. You can come at me. I will give you my address in Ecuador. Just give some tourist money to the people because we actually need the business. But come at me whenever you want. That Tenoch Huerta Namor sucks. That movie will suck ass. I'm sorry. The guy needed to work out a lot more, needed to do his work, his homework a lot more. The designers for that goddamn costume are idiots. So sorry, from the Latino perspective, why are we getting the garbage costume? I don't give a damn about what they are doing. They can shove it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I know. Some guy trying to
get the garbage
version.
version.
If you don't like the cultural stuff of it, that means you're a this. I'm like, no.
Dude, that's not cultural. If you want actual Latino
even if
culture,
it was,
you want
like not everything of a culture is automatically great or automatically bad. Like good is good, bad is bad.
I will just say it directly as I see it. If you think that, for example, the Incas were this great empire of crazy good people, no, they were assholes. They killed a lot of people. They had slaves.
These aren't the Incas. These are the Aztecs.
The Aztecs killed a lot of people, had slaves. Basically, every big
they used to eat organs
in
too.
this region were assholes. sorry to tell you, they were really crazy good with mythology, creating really fancy pyramids and crazy stuff in the jungle, but they were assholes. So you want to have that part of the story? Well, come to Latin America, go to Mexico, stroll down into uh, I don't know. You can get the
Careful,
whole
Pablo.
route. Yeah, I will just say it. Go to Central America, come to South America, have the whole story told from the people that actually were there, and listen to
Yeah.
what most people will tell them. Really good artists, they were assholes. There you go.
Yeah, they won't do that.
All right.
That's our
Before you
heritage.
before you do go, Pablo, you have a solo channel, Geek Tropology, and
Oh
of
yeah.
course you are a major contributor to Midnight's Edge Espanol. What do you got coming out this week? Please, for the chat, they deserve to know. We got 17 in here. They deserve to know.
Okay, there's a video that I did for Mi Desecha Español where I talk about the new Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime. Really, really crazy good. I mean it. That's an animation that you should watch. Is really mature,
I
has
want to.
an incredible
Shit,
style.
good.
There's actually one artist that I follow a lot that is Ilya Korsunova, I think is pronounced anyway that is pronounced. That made another animation that is a companion for one character that you don't see on the animation. Uh,
Uh-huh.
that actually really, really works. And then you have the main anime that is crazy, crazy good. Don't let a lot of people that will try to shove it as some lame propaganda for the game deter you from just going straight into this anime. Watch it in Japanese. The voice acting for this one is amazing. The music is incredible. The animation quality, Studio Trigger, one of the best things that you can have, and the story itself, goddamn man, goddamn. So, my review is up in Mi Nasecha Español. I will have something on Geek Tropology, but also I have been just trying to get the money for a graphics card, and I may be at the end of that adventure. So if I get the graphics card, I want to start doing a lot of game streaming, and one of the games that I will begin the journey with will be Cyberpunk, because that anime actually made me want to reconsider a lot of my views on that game. That's all I will say. Yeah, that will be it. So thank you very much, brother. Sorry for dropping early, but I really
All good,
enjoyed this
man.
one. And
All right, bud.
goddamn, when we review comics, it's really, really stupid fun.
It's so
Yeah,
fun.
it
Seriously,
is fun doing
I,
that.
this,
I love it.
Very
I,
fun.
I recognize that you are so essential to this show. Like that is, even though it's on my channel, just I don't imagine a show without you. I really don't. And
Thank you,
you are
brother.
such an essential ingredient. You're like the cheese to a pizza. We
Nice.
need you. You are the fucking
Hey,
cheese to a
I'm
pizza.
fatty anyway, so I work as cheese.
Sir, hey, thank you for being here, guys. Just go, if you look on my description, the captions, his channels are both on there. You just click on one of those. His Geek Tropology, Midnight's Edge Espanol, they're both there. Sub to them both. Please do it for Pablo. He's a great guy. He's got great, great, great insight, and he's proven it time and time again. You have a great weekend, sir. I will see you next Friday for when we do this again. Also, I'm going to message you in the next few days. I want to get you back on for a Toxic Tuesday episode.
Awesome.
I'm going to get some stuff for November, and I really want you on there again. All right?
Take care, brothers. Take care,
All right,
chat.
take
Take
care.
care, Pablo.
Take care, Pablo. Don't get
Later,
lost in
brother.
the alleys.
All right. Well, and then the final four happened. Let me get
Yes.
this next issue set up here. So, guys, we're gonna talk about the Conan pairing here. and we're gonna try to hammer this out the best we can within a setting. Did you guys read both of them or just Walk the Earth?
Just the one.
I read both, but
okay, we can talk about just the one.
I read both, but
we can... okay. Well, we let's just talk about within our limitations, our whatever you want to call it. All right, so let's talk about these issues. So we had what if Conan the Barbarian walked the Earth today with number 13, and you had what if Conan number 43, which is pretty much what 30 exact issues later, even though they were done by different writers per se. Right. But I really enjoyed this issue. I feel like it was done more in a Conan way than an Earth way per se. Like obviously, I think it's somehow, and this is weird coming from me, but I really liked the relationship between him and the Redheim. The fact that like they both didn't really understand each other a lot, but there are key things that translated to the both of them. I liked the translation between the two, and I thought that was really cool. And also to see him trashing some looters is kind of something that I wish happened a little bit more of today. Someone actually took care of business.
We all wish
it. I like that. So, and I like saying like his response to the Earth around him, of course, is good. I really like the art here too. I really, really enjoyed the art here. But man, seeing
what's
Conan
great about that art? Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
for me, I really like the way I like the blackout.
I love it.
Is being portrayed, and I love how they constantly refer to the blackout of 65. I thought it was cool for a historical reference. So, it gives you that element of like realism, but still being a fantastic world. So it tries to blend the two, which is what Marvel likes to do a lot, is to blend the two. So it's like, it's still escapism at the end of the day, but there's a element of realism thrown in the wrench somewhere in the between, depending where you want to interpret the in between. So I really like this issue. I probably would give it like a 7.8 out of 10. It was a really good issue. I could have done a little extra with it, but obviously within the time constraints, it's gotta be fair here. But I like seeing what they did with it for what it was. Conan adapting to Earth, but really mostly adapted to the girl he was really interested in. Really, like that's such a Conan thing. So I'll emphasis of if I had to give the characterization a high score, it would be that. The characterization of Conan gets a strong 9 out of 10 here for me. This not only just seems like the things he would do for a lady that he's interested in too, but this lady seems like his type as well. So I love this issue. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna change my score on my own live stream. I'm gonna give this one a straight 8.1 out of 10. Nice. What do you think, Fenrir?
I'm gonna say amazing how he travels through time, adapts so well to a world that is not his own, and yet somehow manages to get more tail than me.
Well, he is Conan. So, don't be.
I know. I know. I gotta admit, I enjoyed the way the characterization of Conan in this story. Most people would just by looking at him think he's a barbarian, but people forget Conan is very intelligent for a man of his age.
Yeah, he is.
Strategically and intellectually. I enjoy how he easily and quickly adapts instead of just getting surprised by the shit around him. It's a good characterization. And, well, he's pretty much doing it for some tail, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of men would do that. And, yeah, you got to respect the character. I enjoy how they put real-world historical events, but don't do it in a preachy way. It's actually an entertaining way. I enjoyed the characters they introduce and how it turns out. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Hey.
Ooh, okay. Nice, dude. Hell yeah. Okay, killer. All right, well, Ironcaster, since you read this issue, why don't you go ahead and go for it?
So I gotta start out by saying this. This absolutely does feel like what should have been a Conan the Barbarian story. That he's in this case a man out of his time, a man out of his elements, brought into the modern day, and subjected to having to deal with the then modern world. Yeah, there's a lot of the like. Of course, he found himself a nice, pretty blonde that he's gonna lay down with. That it works in a lot of ways, tying back into the pyramid, the ziggurats that is used in the book to kind of ultimately get him back to his own time. That said, it was satisfying to see him pitted against the modern day, and then having that blackout of 65 to effectively subject everyone back to a more level playing ground, where the greed of the modern man meets with his more primitive ideas of power, and ultimately the lust for greed and modern electronics doesn't matter. It's a fun read. This is probably one of my favorite of the four we read for this, because this does feel like a Conan book.
Look at that. I was blown away when I found out Conan was based on a real person. That's freaking awesome. Dave, right at this comic. Diesel. And thank you for looking really quick. No, dude, this is a freaking fantastic issue of What If. I don't know where I stand between the Iron Man one and the Conan one. Maybe I guess for me I'll be on equal footing, but I really enjoyed this comic. I really, really did. And I'm seems like we're happy that we got to read this one. Thank you, Clubby, for that. Shout out to the great Mrs. Flu, by the way. Great puppet, by the way. All right. Well, you know what, Caster, thank you for your thoughts and insights. Last but not least, our gentleman, Clobberin Times.
Well, it's quite fitting that this comic, and it is a really good one. It's, it's a Conan story should be handled, and at the time, this was handled by the gentleman Roy Thomas, who did pretty much bring Conan into Marvel Comics. It was his doing. He was at this point he'd been writing the comic for about 10 years, and also it was the regular art team on many comic the Conan title at the time. I believe John Buscema and Ernie Chan were regulars on that, and Savage Sword of Conan. So this was the Conan creative team. So that makes sense that it had a great feel to it. I got a kick out of some of the fun stuff early on in the book, where someone even called him Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is about 4 years before Arnold Schwarzenegger ever played Conan. Then they were calling him Stallone a couple of times, which was kind of funny. All the New Yorkers, I like that. It was very interesting that he never is able to speak English. He and Danny. By the way, what's her name? Her name was Danny, right?
Yes, Danette. He called her Danny, but Danette was her actual name.
Right, Danny, because that was the name of Roy Thomas's wife. And so he, the characterization, everything is just spot on in line with all the normal Conan comics of the time, and yet he never learns how to speak English, so they can find a way to communicate without that, which is a very interesting aspect of the story. It was just fun. Again, John Buscema and Ernie Chan just do a terrific job on the art. It looks like you just picked up. You're not missing a beat from a normal Conan comic of the era. It just happens to be taking place in New York, and it's a fun read. It goes by and flows very well, and it just kind of makes you want to see more. You want to see Conan stay there, which of course dovetails into a certain sequel. But yeah. So very entertaining comic. I'm gonna have to go with a very solid 8.5 on this one. 8.5 maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
Here, I thought you would have liked it more because it has that Micronauts advertisements that are on the
I
page.
was never the big Malkinauts guy like most people, believe it or not. I'm more of a ROM guy, but I did like Malkinauts. They were fine.
All right. And that is that comic. Let me transition over because I don't tell my secrets unless I'm sure some of you've already seen my secrets on how I get these comics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure some of you have, but for those who didn't catch it. All right, so this takes place almost exactly 30 issues later. This is what if Conan the Barbarian were stranded in the 20th century, and this is a part 2, a little bit of a different writer, but the continuity is still very heavily involved. So it's nice to see a story followed up on because, to be fair, it didn't need to be followed up on. It felt like an ending. But am I glad that they followed up in it? Oh, yes. I am so glad that they followed up with it because for me, with this follow-up issue, you see him adapting to more of Earth's way, and this is something normally I would accept in the Conan comic, but because once again, What If changes the context of things drastically, but you see him adapt to the gang aspect, the cultural aspect of gangs in big cities. I thought that was like, oh damn, like you see him like working with other thugs and see him working around that. I'm like, oh damn, even Danette, who he was attached to, she's not with him. I'm like, oh wow, that's a cool contrast from what we got before because he's too ingrained into big city culture at this time period per se. So I thought that was really cool how they went for that. And I love seeing his world collide with, well, one of the superheroes of superheroes. Captain America.
Yeah,
I was so in love with their battle. I was just all about it, and it feels so good to have seen this happen. And I like how Cap picks up on things quickly. He knows okay, this guy's clearly not a villain for villain's sake. There is a code to this guy. And I love seeing Conan being humbled. Like Captain America is not some ordinary being himself as well. So I really, really enjoy this comic a lot. More of Conan picking up on Earth culture. I'm not gonna go too farther into this one, but I'm just gonna stick with probably around the same score on 8.1 for this one. Where you at, Ironcaster?
So this is the one issue I did not read.
Yeah, you did not read this one. Fenrir.
I enjoy the way they adapted gang culture into this and how he basically created his own personal army. Look, I'm gonna say I like the fight he had with the big African guy. It was fun, and now they were pretty much like culture speaking. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
It was a fun read. Cap and Conan's fight was pretty awesome. You were right about that. And yeah. Look, it was really so good that I want to figure out words to describe it, but I can't get anything, Bobo. I can't.
It
was good.
Hey there, Maddie's Daddy.
Recommend.
What's up, buddy?
Oh yeah,
I recommend.
Over at it. Shout out to Steve Mitchum. I see
buddy.
you in the chat, sir. Nice to see you here. And I miss Jacob Ironside. Nice to see you as well. And Vince Willis says, do you think when he was told he would play now, he thought, oh God, no. He probably no, of course not. I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to. I try to do what it takes to once in a while we'll talk about a little bit of movie stuff. But I try mainly keep this show to the absolute source material of things. So and Heron, I see your comment too, says I was called let people say that. Just don't let it get to you. I didn't. I just had fun with it. That's all. The best you either block them or you have fun with it. Some people block them. I just had fun with it. So we're moving on. we're gonna let Clobberin Times talk about this issue, sir.
From the very crazy but interesting Bill Sienkiewicz cover, which is pretty. This is Peter Gillis has always been a very interesting writer to me. He's a pretty good what if writer. This story has some peaks and valleys for me. Bob Hall on the pencils and the inks kind of detract a little bit. I like Bob okay. He does he goes out of his way to be imitative of the John Buscema, Ernie Chan type of art. This is many years later, by the way. This is like 1984. This is almost like 7-8 years later after the original story that we just reviewed. Some of the we do get to see Danny for a second, but by that point, he doesn't go after her when he leaves, which was kind of curious to me.
She's disappointed.
But before that, like when he escapes from police headquarters, or the courtroom or whatever, he doesn't go after her, which is different. And then he goes and turns into a thief and a thug and a gang leader and a pimp and all this crap. Some of that stretched a little bit of credulity. Now, Conan was a thief, by the way, and he wasn't going to run by the same types of morals. However, if you just kind of bank with that and kind of go with that flow, the story gets back on a really good track toward the end. Bob does a decent job with the art. I got to come in, and this is some of the best Bob Hall work I've said. Like I said, maybe not quite the John Buscema, Ernie Chan level, but it's very good. And I don't buy Conan being that much of a match for Cap. However, it's pretty. I don't buy him stabbing Cap. But anyway, let's just go ahead and accept it, right? Because it's part of your story. The fact, I think the best part about this issue is that, Conan is slowly learning about modern day values, which he had no clue of. He was from Sumeria. He was the Iborian age, and from a different time where values were different and morals were different. Still, he had some honor, but he was a thief. Conan would just kill you as soon as look at you. He had all these different types of values, but he started learning. And at the end there, after his encounters with Captain America, you could tell there's an interesting bit where he's starting to think about the nobility of Captain America, questioning his own actions and the way he has conducted himself as a thug and a criminal. And that's my favorite element to this story. So that's a great payoff by Peter Gillis. And Peter Gillis does an interesting job with the story in that respect. So overall, an interesting story. Overall, good art. I would say I'd give that first segment, the Conan bit of this book, about a 7.5 for sure. I'd like to just slightly speak on that last story, which is like bonkers.
Yeah, go for it.
There's I don't know if any of you read that backstory and the backup story.
The only piece I didn't get to. I got to everything else but this one piece. Go for it.
Won't say much other than it is absolute. You have to. Mark Grunwald should never really be penciling anything with Jack Abel inking him. Nevertheless, the art it's weird. Basically, the Watcher shows us this universe that has been, basically universe that has ceased to exist because of a nullification. Basically, 4 beings, or this is 3 beings still exist. Doctor Strange. It's a completely white or completely non-existent universe now. Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and Phoenix. And something crazy has happened to destroy their entire universe. I won't go into it since no one's read it yet. It's you almost want to read it. It's something to do with Michael Korvac. Put it like that. I'll not spoil it. I would say it's so crazy, but it's kind of it's too weird not to. You got to read it just to experience. Like I'll say like that. So you may not like it, you may like it, but if you're a Marvel Comics fan, it's one of those stories that fits into what if. It's yes, it's an interesting read. How's that sound? That's an interesting read.
Agreed.
So check that out. I won't spoiler it though.
I agree.
Yeah. So.
All right, guys, that was our Conan 1-2 punch, and now the final issue of this what if, kind of just a collection of issues that we did. For me, this was my personal favorite issue, and that's easy for me to say now that we're 2 hours in and we're 18 people deep. Thank you guys for being here. That's awesome that you guys are still here. Like, holy crap. considering I don't know how many of you know these comics. That's freaking cool that you are here, and maybe some of you are even just coming in. For me, anyone who knows me knows I hold Daredevil deep to my heart, and obviously we know in 616 continuity, Elektra had revived, whatever you want to call it. But in this time, she still was alive after the seminal Frank Miller run. So it was like a big deal of what if Elektra had lived? And that would be what if issue number 35. And you know what? It came with 2 backup stories, which I did read, Clobby. So we can talk about if you. I'm
I actually
assuming you
didn't. I haven't
obviously
read
you
the.
know
I
it.
haven't read those backstories in a long time, dude.
Well, I guess I'll talk
Because
about
I
it.
didn't know
Then.
we were doing this one tonight. So I actually didn't, for some reason, didn't familiar that we were doing this one. So I just read the Daredevil one, which I had read many years ago.
And Phil says, "I own the Conan." Ooh, see, those are good. Those were really good. So that's what's up, Philbo. That is what's up. But for me, I already gave away the spoiler. The Daredevil is my favorite. That's why dude. No, I'm just glad you guys are here. Like, we're 2 hours in. We still have a peak audience. That's freaking cool. Like, we try to do whatever it takes to make sure people aren't bored. We want to make sure we can be in this deep into the stream and people are still all in on it. And for me, I love, even though it's not really a long story, it's like what, 15, 16 pages, this story. And it's actually one of the rarer kind of happily ever after issues. Kind of, depending on how you see it. Because they always say, hey, they'll still come for you anyways. But you get a little bit of what could be the hypothetical ending to Matt Murdock's ending his career as Daredevil. And you see what happens when Elektra survives. I actually want to say too, this is for me, it's a big deal. And I've been very critical on Frank Miller's penciling. I love what he does here on this issue. I love it. I love it. I feel like I think this is like, I wish we could have gotten more in this and what he did later on. Especially like coming towards like the Dark Knight stuff, all that. Even though he wasn't always involved in that stuff, when he got into like later issues with the Dark Knight saga and all that, I feel like his arc got a little too sloppy for my taste, and characters were just weirdly shaped. This feels like Daredevil. This feels like Elektra. This feels like Foggy Nelson. I feel this, and I feel like he nails that grim setting very well. I feel like he gives a really great Elektra, by the way, too. I really like the way he draws Elektra. I love the way he draws this issue. For me, I loved seeing this. Like, I just love it. I don't know what it was, but I just like the way you get Elektra like this. I like the way he draws this Kingpin as this figure who hides in the shadows. I like the way he has a lot of characters where just pretty much hide in the shadows. I like the way he is Daredevil. Man, his Daredevil is like the perfect pose of like muscle, but not overly muscular. And of course, the colors. Terry some. No, not Inker. I'm getting my names wrong here. I apologize, but I love the colors here too. You even get to see Elektra use her daggers to stab the way she got stabbed. Nice contrast from her death by her own body from Bullseye. So I love this issue. Closest thing you get to a happy ending of Daredevil seeking paradise. Big fan. Big fan. Once again, the closest thing you'll get to a Matt Murdock ending. Now, I was a little weirded out by this Roger Stern story, obviously, with the Steve Ditko art, which is very, very distinct, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to lead to the setup of Tigra. And Tigra pays off into the third story, which is part of what happens when, even though it's advertised as if what if Yellow Jacket had died, which, let's be fair here, that doesn't sound all too appetizing. It's the Janet stuff that is great in this. I love seeing how she reacts, and this is something I meant to mention earlier, but because of course I had my blonde moments. I always confess when I have them. you see how she reacts to when Hank Pym dies and how she handles it, because she goes by a darker persona, the Black Wasp. She gets the Black Widow comparisons, and you see her take a dark turn because she's like realizing like, oh crap, like once Cap is almost in the face of danger and Tigra does the saving the Cap, and rightfully so, she's like, oh crap, I let my emotions cloud my better sense of judgment. And she realizes she's not the hero she once was. So it's a dour ending, but not the most dour of endings. It could have ended a little darker than what it had been. But still, you still feel like, oh crap, like she really, put herself in a corner with this position. Because you see her take her turn, handling justice more so vigilante style, and almost let her own allies get in the way of the greater good. So there's still some dour parts, but not as dour as it could have been. But still, you see her realize, I need to evaluate myself and just not be a part of this team anymore. I thought this was a great story that, honestly, I didn't think this story, when I read the cover, was going to be all that good. I really did. So I would give the Wasp story like a strong 7.7. The Daredevil story, I'm going to go with a very confidently high 8.8. We'll go with 8.8. So I'll go with that one. Ironcaster, where are you with this story, all of it, etc.?
So, of the three, I gotta be honest, the Daredevil stuff is probably the weakest for me because I feel like I've gone. It's been a while, but I feel like I've gone through some of the Daredevil comics before, but I don't as fully remember like the Frank Miller run of Daredevil as well as obviously you would. So, in all honesty, like of all the books we've gone through tonight, the Daredevil stuff was probably the weakest for me.
Okay. Hey, we're allowed to disagree here. We are no echo chamber.
Whereas I enjoyed the build up of the Tigra stuff because I feel like it's a character I really don't know much about. So to get an origin within this what if, I could buy as being like my definitive like origin for how this obscure Avenger came about. And then finally what's there to not enjoy with this story here of Janet Van Dyne taking this dark turn of becoming the Black Wasp ultimately. She's willing to do what has to be done to, get revenge on those that be for the death of Hank. I think that probably of the three stories, the Janet Van Dyne stuff is my favorite.
Okay.
That's a good scan you got of that one, by the way. Wow. The one I found was
for that.
The one I found is
there's a reason for that. We'll talk about it after.
Okay. Gotcha.
Carry on, Caster.
I mean, ultimately, that's kind of my stance on this. Is that I was pleasantly surprised by just how much I enjoyed the secondary story to this book, and also I feel like it might almost be worth down the road us talking about some of the Frank Miller Daredevil stuff, because I know you're a big fan of that, and it's one of those big seminal runs that deserves its time.
Okay.
Just a little nugget of a thought to consider for a future stream.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Fenrir.
Well, what can I say?
Start off with the Daredevil stuff, of course. We'll even go back to it just to give you a little bit of a quick refresher.
Well, boys, I'm going to be 100% honest here. I have not read this one.
Oh, okay.
I must have forgot we were doing this one, but I did read the Daredevil one again. I've read them
we'll
all,
talk
but it's
about
been
the Devil one for you, Clobby.
But go ahead, Fenrir, if you want. If you have nothing to say on it, I'll go.
I mean, the art's pretty good, and from what you tell, it's good tale. So I'm at least going to give it a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
All right. No worries, Fenrir. Clobby, talk about this Daredevil story.
Well, again, the other ones I'm gonna have to do from vague memory because they've been so long. But the first one, I went back and reread the Daredevil one today, and I thought I don't know, maybe I just thought we were just going to talk about that one. I didn't get a chance. Like a dumbass, I should have went and taken a closer look at those old ones. But interestingly, to have just on a note for the art, of course, this was right around the time when Miller's Daredevil was all the rage, as you can imagine, or right after it was. This is not too long after it was winding down on the series. One of the most extraordinarily amazing stories I'd ever read was what all the stuff that went on with Elektra when the death of Elektra and all that stuff in that Daredevil title. That's what made this. When this came out, it wasn't all that long after that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we were still reeling from that. So it was a lot more. It was even something a bit more of a potency to this story at the time, in particular, because those, if you saw this, you were a comics reader, you knew what was going on with Daredevil. So to have Terry Austin making it, other than Klaus Janson, I know I like Janson. It was also kind of nice to see that. Great art on this one. It is. I think this is an excellent story. I like this probably again. The way it was handled, the way this thing was put together. It's short, but it has a nice heart to it. And again, Miller was very stretched out at the time, so it wasn't gonna give you a really long story. But you got to see a little bit of happiness in another universe. But it was kind of interesting also the way he wrote the narrative unfolds in this one, where it's the Watcher telling a mourning Matt Murdock that at least somewhere out there you're happy. Not here, buddy. He's somewhere in another universe, another you gets a living Elektra. How do you like that, pal? It's almost torturous. Like it was almost like sadistic in a sense. The way
you're right.
He's telling Matt, like, dude, you know what? There's another universe where it all worked out, and Bullseye, the guard who could have shot Bullseye and killed him and kept him from killing Elektra. Well, he doesn't have to hesitate, so sucks to be you, but that other Daredevil, that other Matt Murdock, he's going to be okay. Which I thought was pretty weird, but interesting.
Well, at least Marvel hasn't gone and remembered that Daredevil exists.
Well, yeah, and again, it was, and as for the other stories, like I say, total memory, and now you may want to go back and read them. Ditko a little bit past his prime on this one, but it was a pretty interesting story. Roger Stern wrote a fairly interesting story about Tiger and the Cat People, but I can't. I would have to go back and reread that one again, which I did intend to do, but for some reason I didn't even know we were doing this issue today. I know I should have. I thought we were doing those other 4, so that's my bad. That's why I only had time to go and read the Daredevil one.
Okay,
that's on me.
We're good, dude.
I really like that last story, the Janet story, and I'm looking forward to going back and revisiting it. The art, Alan Zelentis has been. Actually, he's written a couple of decent what ifs. There's other stuff, not so much, but it's a pretty good story. But as far as the art, I'm a big fan of Grad LaRock, but basically Mike Esposito and the crew are the inkers. It says Mike Esposito and crew. So this is a rush job by Greg with the pencils and the inking. Well, that scan you have is from, obviously I know where it comes from, why it's that way. This, however, the scan I'm looking at is just right off of an old comic, and at the time, the back of the inking work is not what it could have been. But that be this, it's a very impactful, powerful story, a very what if type of a story, and so overall, working on a lot of memory here, I would give this issue definitely a 7.5. Overall, as an issue, probably. I kind of think that the Janet story might be the best thing in there, though.
Okay, so you think it's the best thing? Casper thinks
Well, they're all
best thing,
good. They're all
and
good.
yeah.
Daredevil's good.
Maybe my Daredevil bias is kicking in, and you
Oh,
will.
you know I love
can
DD.
all be the judge of that. You can
No,
all
you
be
know I
the
love
judge of
DD,
that.
dude.
For me, the Daredevil story triumphs just because you get to see what happens when Matt gets taunted with a possibility of happiness and how good it could truly be. Because Elektra, despite the many, 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 many women Matt Murdock has had his life, like Peter Parker, there is ultimately still one woman for him at the end of the day, and it's
Right.
Elektra Nachios. Kind of like the way Peter Parker will go through women, but at the end of the day, it's Mary Jane Watson. So you get that semblance of happiness with really great art by Frank. Really, really, I love. Once again,
Terry
I
Austin
can't
really
emphasize
saved that, man.
enough how good it was. I feel like the art really added to it. I'm like,
But
man, I
Terry
wish we got
Austin-
more.
Yeah.
And maybe Terry may have been the big saver on it.
He
should
never
have had Terry
has. He
involved
almost
more.
never got to ink Frank very much. So I'm just saying. But yeah, it's all great.
It makes a
Sorry.
difference. The way the eyes look, like Electro, she kind of like almost like a bug-eye look, but it worked. It worked, and like his Matt Murdock was perfect. His foggy, I love that the environment around Daredevil, very fitting Daredevil setting. It's just everything was just. I loved it. I loved it. Love it. And of course, like unexpectedly, when you look at the cover, you're thinking, why do I care about Yellow Jacket? But then when you look for further context, it's really not about Yellow Jacket or Hank Pym. It's about Janet Van Dyne. And that's where the real hidden treasure lies. That story is a absolutely phenomenal hidden treasure. I would go with that sort of low. I'd give like a strong 8.4, maybe 8.5. So I would say the Daredevil's probably around 8.7-ish. With the
I don't blame you.
Janet Van Dyne story around 8.5, but still worth the recommend. And this is once again another single issue I will be seeking out and buying as an individual copy in good solid condition, because this is such a joy to read these comic books. And Claudia, I'm so glad you pitched this as an idea, because this was such a joy to read through a bunch of comics that literally have no stakes, but made you feel all the stakes involved within the confines of the story. That takes a lot to do, and the fact that we got that with all these stories is awesome. And Brian Yoder, to answer your question, I already said, if you haven't read, do you want to read now after hearing about it? Absolutely, yes, because you get further context. You get to see why we love the story with Iron Man, why we love the stuff with Conan. Absolutely why. And yes, you can go nuts with Gundam chat here all you want. It's absolutely encouraged there, Best Grave. All right, guys. That's the what if panel for tonight. We went a little longer, but I said we would because why not? We would run even more so if we had Pablo still here. Shout out to Pablo. Next week, if not the week after, we're going to be talking Zaripaverse. So it could be next week or it could be the week after. So you just be ready. We're going to have some Ripaverse soon, whether it's next week or the week after. We're going to be talking about it. And of course, I can't wait to talk about Inglorious Rex from Shane Davis and whatever other open geek talks come about. But we're going to do that. And also, I am still in talkings of other people to get on for shows. You guys, your voices have been heard as far as guests to get on the show. I couldn't get comics to commit to this, but I'm going to talk to them. We're going to work something out otherwise, and I'm working on it being huge. All right, so seriously, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for listening. You guys were a great chat too. I see your comments in the chat. It's awesome. Whether you're here for 1%, 5, 25, 50, 75, 100, all the comments are absolutely appreciated. And shout out to Pablo once again for being here, of Geek Tropology, Midnight's Edge Espanol. Great contributor to the show. I straight at me when I say that, man. Without that man, this show is not what it could be, because he really is a powerhouse of the conversation. And shout out to Brian Yoder for the direct donation earlier. And yes, next week will be number 69. I will make sure I'll get an edgy type of comic in. I'll have my edgy comic in for next week. So I promise that. Seriously, guys, I love hanging with you guys on Friday night. I love sharing drinks, reading the comments, seeing what you guys are saying. it just feels like an interaction with friends, and you guys are listening to us. I'm seeing what you guys are saying. That's what makes these Friday nights, so exceptional. You know what? In Common Nerd, maybe they do need to do the 2.5 to 3 hour range. Maybe that is what needs to happen. And Diesel, dude, you never owe me an apology in the history of ever. You got Ironcaster below me here. I'm just gonna only instigate you guys. That's all I'm gonna do is instigate. So go nuts. You're part of the Gilded Club. I will say you're not talking about Gundam enough, if anything. Just listen to us and you talk about Gundam, and we're all good. Shout out to my God, Mark D with a C.
Hey.
Hello.
We're all the best dudes hang out.
Hello there.
But this is gonna be the part where we wrap up because all good things must come to an end. And yes, maybe we'll have to do a 2.5 to 3 hour format. Obviously, you guys are into it, and if with the watch being available, the watch time being available, I guess we got to go for it. We'll have to go Diet Mauler on this show. Diet Mauler. There you go. So, all right,
we'll do the breakdown of the thing.
Ooh, bring up the thing. Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. Fenrir the Ice Wolf. I know you don't really do anything on your channel, but why don't you do your final thoughts for the chat? These people have done so much.
This is pretty cool. And I do things for my channel. I just haven't done any lately. Look, this was fun. I give our entire conversation a 10 out of 10. Sucks the pod can stay to the end, but the guy rules. He's fun. Still, though, this was great. I know I've talked bullshit about having something to come, and I really do have it, but it's not out yet, so just stay waiting. Well, and you know what? I don't need to do anything to get your respect. Give me stuff. I'm black. Give me stuff. You're racist. You know you're racist. You hear me? Give me stuff for free. Give me stuff for free.
Play that card, dude.
Yeah. All right, then. This is fun.
It was very fun.
Peace to you, chat. Love you guys.
To be here. You have a good night, sir. And shout out to the mighty wrench himself, Eric K. To the sub-defender of the Ice Wolf here. Yeah. Eric, you better come to Orlando, Eric. You better. I'm gonna come. I promise.
He is, isn't he?
So please.
He's going, right?
He better.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Nice to see you, my friend. Please. Eric, I want to hang out with you. I want to make up for our last time that we didn't have in Vegas. Please come. Please come.
Yeah.
All right. Fenrir, thank you for being here, sir. And thank you it was nice to have you for a show tonight, like an entire show. Fenrir. That was a big bonus.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've been having events, but I promise I'll be back at full long strength. I can guarantee you that, gentlemen.
You better be, man. We miss you.
I was gonna argue. I'd actually argue you were on full strength all weekend tonight. Yeah.
All right. Okay then, boys.
Dude, have a great weekend, all right?
Equal to you guys. Stay safe, boys and ladies in the chat too. Peace to you all. Love ya.
Sure.
All right. And of course, the man who keeps the ideas going around the show, and Fenrir literally exit, probably because it's really late, to be fair. All over his side of the pond or planet, dare I say. Caster, what do you got?
Whatever he may lay. Oh, of course, you can find me over on Ironcaster, where I might sometimes talk about some of these big robots that can be found around. Actually, I can be found in a lot of places. So if you want to see us talk a little bit more about some nerd stuff, you can find me over tomorrow on the T-shirt Historians for the Week in Geek, where we will most likely talk about whatever Wizards of the Coast is up to. You can also find me on showing up in some random streams, so follow me on Twitter. I will drop that link in the chat. And let's see, coming up Monday, I am doing what I call the Positivist stream to talk about some things I like. Such as, hey, some good books, some good movies, maybe another terrible shark movie.
You like that?
Yeah. Oh my god, they
I'm
are
disgusted.
they are the best trash. Like, of course, if
Right.
it's like shark people living on the moon, I need to see this.
Roger.
Let's see, coming up this Tuesday over on Pop's channel with Stone Loki, we will be delving into the 2012 movie Dread.
Oh, good choice.
Regretting it.
Good choice. Good
And-
choice.
And then on Wednesday, I will be hanging out with Guard Beardia over on his Twitch channel, which I will drop a link in the chat for anyone to check out. Which he's a cool dude, and I want to see if I want to work things out to bring him on because he's got a good book. He's a pretty cool dude. I think you would like him, Nick.
Let's talk about it. All right, just talk about it in the comic shop chat. We'll talk about it. I'd love to have him on. I trust you with getting him on, sir. You have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your contribution to this great show and to the comic shop show tonight. Talk about some great comics, guys. Twitch here, YouTube channel here, sir. I will see you soon.
Yo. Well, buddy. Thanks for having me. Quick recommendations. If any of you enjoyed hearing about those What If comics, there are two we didn't get to that we're gonna have to get to one of these days.
Yes.
There was What If Volume 1, number 39, What If Thor fought Conan? And then there was number 16, Volume 2, What If Wolverine fought Conan? Both really good comics that I think you would enjoy.
Ooh.
Those are ones I wish if you get a chance, Nicholas, check those suckers out. They're good stories. But hey, nothing going on really other than I'm glad to hang out with you and our great friends in the chat. And of course, we've got Saturday Night Star Trek, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow night. 4 more episodes of Deep Space Nine with my wonderful first officer, Raquel Briggs. And
shout out to Raquel.
Indeed. And of course, our great buddy Mark D with a C is, in addition to doing some cool enabling videos lately, he has Sunday Night Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're up late on a Sunday night, you just want to hear a couple of geeks geeking out about geekness. It's a fun, laid back kind of, as the kids say, chill stream. And we have a lot of fun doing that. And come join us over there. So it's Mark D with a C's great channel. He's a great friend, not only to me, but to you, Nick, and he's with you.
Oh, yeah.
So we love the
way
D with a C. So.
No, the way I advertise Pablo on Comic Shop Talk is the same way I advertise Mark D with the C on Toxic Tuesday. These are very essential gentlemen that help make these shows what they are, and these shows really they add so much to these shows. Like Mark D with the C and Pablo, these guys, they're strip essential to these shows, and I'm very thankful for these guys. And Mark, when we meet for pizza, I'm buying. And don't you dare
let him make you eat clam pizza. Don't let him make you eat clam pizza.
No. That's where we draw the line.
Yeah,
but I'm buying pizza. Oh, I know.
He's a troublemaker. Let's be honest. But
so you're saying pineapple is on the menu?
No.
Better than clamshells. Even though that's probably not on the menu, better than clamshells. I'll call it the lesser of two evils. Guys, Clobber Times' channel, Saturday Night Trek should say it all and then some.
Thank you, buddy.
Seriously, that show, like, whenever I get the lucky opportunity to catch it, it's so engaging to listen to, even from the normie perspective. Just the way these two talk, I love listening to her perspective, and I love seeing how interactive that chat is. It's insane how good it is. It really does live up to the hype. Saturday Night Trek is the real deal.
Thanks,
also, Club, you and I, I think October 12th, we're going to be talking Spider-Man, the animated series. I cannot wait.
All right. Help me remember.
Oh, I will. Chat, that's your heads up for a few weeks from now. Me and Klobby, 101, mano a mano, talking Spider-Man, the animated series.
Bob. Hell yeah.
It's going to be great. This is his channel, guys. Sub to Clobber in times if you somehow haven't. Klobby,
12th. That's a Wednesday night, by the way.
Wednesday night. That's right.
12th of October.
Thank you for hanging out, sir.
Thank you, brother.
As always.
Thanks
it's
for
a
having
pleasure. Me. Yeah, always.
We will. Oh, don't everyone forget, by the way, Sunday, Paulie's birthday stream.
Yes. Our own Latino slant, Paulie.
Yep, middle of the day.
His actual birthday was
yesterday. And we
yesterday.
love Paulie. He popped in earlier.
We do,
Happy
absolutely
birthday to
do.
Paulie.
Happy birthday to Paulie Latino Slant. His show is on Sunday. I'll make sure I drop in for that. I won't be able to spend a lot of time, but I'll drop in. Paulie, if you're listening out there, happy birthday, sir. Sorry I didn't know about it sooner, but I will definitely drop in Sunday. Klobby, you have a great weekend.
You too, man.
I'll see you soon.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Absolutely. All right. Last but not least, man, my camera's a little blurry. Oh yeah, there's that.
It's not as drunk as you think it is.
It's not as think as you drunk he is.
Anyways, Chad, thank you for being here. Comic Shop Talk next week. Maybe, maybe not. ISOM, we'll find out. You'll know. Trust me, I'll update on Gilded. I will update on Twitter. As soon as I know, you will know. And I will make sure of that. Toxic Tuesday, we will be talking Total Recall.
Nice.
It's going to be insane.
Love it. Great stuff.
Oh, I know. And we will have my buddy Christian Dorm if he's still out there listening.
Cool.
So we got him.
Excellent.
We also will have probably Brahma Bull as well. And yes, RK, thank you. Gilded. Guys, join me on Gilded. Diesel's a part of it. Vince Womack's a part of it. Bruce McFadden, Christian Delorme. These guys keep that shit. They hold the fort down while I'm gone. Because there are times where I can't respond for a day or two because dad life is real or just home life is real. These guys hold the fort down. Thank you guys. Seriously, for holding that Gilded down. You guys are the real enforcers of Gilded. And there is no such thing, Brian, as extra crappy, original recipe only. And thank you, Diesel. You're one of the great reasons this show is awesome. Seriously. And D-Butt says, what if Comic Shop Talk didn't end? Maybe one day we might have to do a Longman Muller stream to answer your question. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. We'll plan that one out. I've got a review coming. Razor Cycle of Contempt. Thrash Metal Band from Canada. That review is coming. I also got a view I'm currently scripting. Yeah, I said it's scripting. About the concept of a movie being woke, not being woke, is not enough to give it a pass.
That's a very good thing. I've been saying that for a while. I'm glad
that will come out next week. So you'll have that. You'll have the Razor review. So you'll have 2 videos next week. Straight up 2 videos. And, of course, you can find me at Midnight's Edge After Dark, like Collaborating Times. And, of course, I yell at park cars on Monday nights with Comics Division and the Dix Division boys. So find me on there. Once again, thank you for the direct donation, Brian Yoder. I do appreciate it, sir. And thank you for everyone in the chat for hanging out and being here. I appreciate it, guys. Seriously, this is another fun night. And you never know, especially with such obscure comics like the What If comics, you don't know. But thank you for being here. Shout out to the mods, Eric K. Thank you. The Legion of Memers for hanging out. Magic Poop. I know Release Some McCracken promoted the show on the Twitter. Thank you if you're still out there. And that perfect timing is a segue. Tom's got Mead Radio.
On, yeah.
So go over. Tell Tom I sent you over to Mead Radio. Listen to my guy Tom and his badass saying. Mm-hmm. And yes, I am eating Doth cat food. All right, guys.
Wait, I've got something for us to end on. I think you're gonna like this.
What are you up to?
Ooh. All right, that was glorious. And guys, Mead Radio Raid is here. Thank you, RK, for promoting that.
Rate them.
This is goodbye. Good fight. Good night, everybody.